Hey guys, welcome to the Matburn Podcast, episode 16. I am here with my friend, Stuart Cooper. Hello, Stuart.
Hello, Josh.
As you guys may know, Stuart is super duper famous in the jiu-jitsu world for making pretty much the baddest videos ever for jiu-jitsu content. And Stuart is very, very good at telling other people's stories. He always tells other people's stories. But today we get the Stuart Cooper story. And that's my mission for today, is to tell you guys, to let Stuart tell his story. It's a good one. I've heard it before. So this time Stuart's in front of the camera, not behind the camera, and he's going to tell us all about his life and his journey. And I'm super excited for that. So thank you, Stuart, for being here.
Oh, pleasure being here.
And I have to first, of course, thank my sponsors. As you know, it's very important for the business. This episode is brought to you by VHTS Europe. Not to be confused with VHTS NY. I don't mess around with those guys. That VHS NY. VHTS.
VHTS Europe been sponsoring my videos.
Really?
Yeah, the last two.
Actually, I saw that. The one that you did about me.
Yep.
Yeah,
yours,
they're on that, yeah.
Andres, then Mike Perez, which is coming out today.
Yeah, good. Yeah, awesome. Well, VHTS.Europe. So you can check them out on Instagram at VHTS.Europe and Facebook. And yeah, so thank you guys. It just in case no one knows, VHTS stands for very hard to submit. And I've competed against a lot of guys who are sponsored by VHTS. And indeed, they were very difficult to submit. Mateus Denise being one of them, my frenemy. So thank you, VHTS.Europe. Guys, check them out. And now, Stuart, you have quite a story to tell. Let's get back. Let's go back to the beginning, man. Let's go back to the beginning.
Where do we begin?
How did you even begin making jiu-jitsu videos? Like, why? Why did you get started?
So I discovered jiu-jitsu when I was just after finishing university, when I was 22, 23. And then, I finished university, got a degree, ended up getting a job in London, doing everything you're supposed to do.
You're from the UK.
From the UK, yeah.
Okay, not Australia, like everyone thinks.
No.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was very unhappy with my job. I was doing a desk job, like a 9 to 5 in London. And then I saw UFC on TV, started training jiu-jitsu, and then...
What year was that?
Oh, this is 2009. 2009. And, yeah, just... I really fell in love with it. I started competing at white, blue belt. I started doing very well. And I decided I wanted to, go full-time jiu-jitsu. So I actually quit my job in London. Started, my parents were very unhappy with me. I had to move back in with my parents because I had no job, no money. And then I had an accident in training. I actually dislocated my arm completely the opposite way. You can actually have a scar here.
Hyperextension.
Yeah.
It
was a nasty one.
Did you post on the mat on a takedown?
Yes. Yeah, I was actually on someone's back and he was shaking me off the front. I posted and it completely snapped back.
Oh, like he was tripoding.
I didn't even feel it though. The adrenaline was going so much. Yeah, he was tripoding.
And you fell off the top.
Fell off the top and then I heard something and then I couldn't get up and he's trying to choke me. Like, yo, stop. It's like, why, what? And I went,
you didn't feel anything.
Move. I couldn't feel anything. Like my adrenaline was going that much. And then he freaked out. He goes, oh. And he looked and said, oh, don't look. And I'm like, why? And he goes, your arm. And then obviously I looked and then it was...
Of course you looked.
It was like folded back the complete opposite way.
Why is it that when people tell us not to look, we have to look?
I know, right? So, yeah, that was like
It was folded backwards.
Folded backwards. It was just held on by the skin.
Oh my God.
So luckily, I went to hospital and they actually just popped it back in and it didn't break when it came out. It didn't break going back in. So it was a straight dislocation.
Good.
But obviously all the tendons and ligaments were
stretched out.
Oh, it was like
torn up.
It was purple,
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was very, I didn't feel it at the time, but after 30 minutes when my adrenaline cooled down, that's when the pain.
You felt it?
Oh yeah, that's when I felt it. So yeah, that was a long recovery and yeah, obviously I couldn't work. I couldn't train jiu-jitsu, so I just picked up a video camera, started filming just training highlights.
So basically you were bored
I was bored.
You were like, I need to do something. So you picked up a camera.
I mean, I did have an interest in film. I'm a big film buff growing up. So the only subject I was ever any good at school was art. So I was never an academic person, just sport, and art. And then, just started filming training highlights. Went down to one of the local tournaments and filmed my team competing, made a highlight there. And then everyone was saying, wow, you're really good at this. Keep it up. And then Ryan Hall came to town to do a seminar, and I filmed that seminar and edited it together. And then, boom, I actually made my first jiu-jitsu video. And I think it was just all timing, because at that time there was no YouTube, Facebook, social media was getting popular. Jiu-jitsu was getting popular.
So what year are we in now?
I think this is 2010.
2010, okay.
2010. And I remember posting that Ryan Hall video. It had like 30,000 views in a week, something crazy. And I was like, wow, I'm onto something.
Yeah.
And then Gunnar Nelson came to town. I did one on him, Jeff Monson. And then it was just kind of a domino effect from there. I just kind of stuck with it. I realized I was onto something.
So everything that you produce is basically self-taught techniques.
Pretty much, yeah.
You have no formal education.
Nope. So wow. I actually got a lot of practice, because after I made a few of those highlight videos, one of my friends at train was getting married. And he said he'd give me £300 to film his wedding. I was like,
that's like $400.
Right.
Okay.
Not much, but for me then it was a lot, because I basically didn't have a job.
$400.
So I filmed his wedding, I got paid, and at that wedding I met a wedding photographer, and I sent her the video afterwards, and she was quite impressed with it. And then she got in contact with me like a month later and said, hey, I'll pay you £1,000 to film this wedding with me.
What's that like? That's like $1,400.
Yeah. So I was made up. And then she gave me quite a few weddings after that. Before I know it, I'm a wedding videographer. And started making some money, and actually used that money to buy an even better video camera. And then just carried on filming these jiu-jitsu videos. Just through, people encouraging me to do it. Everyone was like, saying, hey, stick with this. You're doing something good here.
You know what's funny is I'm having the exact same experience right now with this podcast.
Right. Yeah.
I just did it once for fun, and then it caught on, and then like people keep encouraging me, and like I make some money, and I use that money to buy better equipment, and then
yeah, you just got to run with it.
I'm running, bro. I'm running. Yeah. That's why you're here. We're running. Okay, get on. Sorry.
Yeah. So what happened?
I like to interrupt with tangents. When Keenan's not here to interrupt, I have to be the interrupter. If Keenan's here, he's the king of interrupting. But he's not here, so sorry.
Yeah. What happened?
Wedding videos.
Wedding videos. Oh, there. So from then, I always wanted to. I was still blue belt this time. I managed to get started training again.
Who did you start training with?
Lucio Sergio dos Santos.
Oh, sorry, we talked about him.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
You submitted him.
I had a match with him at Master Worlds 2018.
He had no idea you were a guillotine master. Well, shot in for a double leg.
He shot in on me. Gotta watch out.
He didn't see my video on you.
He's a good dude, though. I remember that match specifically, and he was a really cool guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And he gave you your black belt?
Yes, yeah. I've been a black belt actually 4 years now. It came up in my Facebook status the other day. I had no idea it's been 4 years.
So you have your first degree?
I don't. I don't think he knows.
Well,
I might have to tell him, hey, yo, you owe me a stripe.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you have it. I mean,
yeah. You
can tell people you're a first degree black belt.
Yeah.
As you are. Okay.
So, what then? Yeah, after that, I really wanted to go. I always had the dream. I think everyone, when they start jiu-jitsu, they have a dream to go to Brazil. So, yeah, I got in contact with Connection Rio, they were called at the time. I don't think they're there anymore, but I sent an email to Dennis Ash, the founder of Connection Rio, and said, hey, I don't know if you've seen these videos I've done. But I think I'd done a few at that time. I just did the Braulio Steamer Road to ADCC videos, and I just produced the ADCC highlight video. And that really...
the 2011.
The 2011 highlight video. I don't think I'll ever top that. That seems to be the one everyone likes.
Everybody knows that video. You guys know which one he's talking about. Yeah. What was the band? The Cherry Pie song?
Yeah, that was by the Jezebels.
The Jezebels. I have that song on my iPhone just because you made that video. I bought and downloaded that song because I liked it so much.
I'd never even heard of him. It was one of my friends where I was in his car and he was playing it. He said, hey, you should put one of this song, like one of these songs to your highlight videos. It would go quite well. I was like, yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually.
Isn't that funny how something so stupid and small, like changed this direction of this. Like that song made that video. I mean, of course your editing is amazing, but that song in that video is amazing. It gives me goosebumps.
I mean, I think it introduced Jezebels to the jiu-jitsu community.
Yeah. They should have messaged you and be like, hey, Stuart, thank you.
Yeah, luckily they didn't sue me.
Right.
Right. I mean, I'm not sure what I think it's okay if you don't have logos on the video.
Okay.
You're not selling anything. If it's just a highlight, then I think it's okay.
I mean, you did them I don't know. I'm not going to say anything. It's a great video, great song. So that was your first big video. That was the first video that blew up.
Yeah, and actually that ADCC 2011 highlight, I did not have a backstage pass. Budo videos were in control at the time.
Right.
And I actually just kind of, I mean, security wasn't very tight. You know, I just kind of, snuck my way in there.
Because it was in Nottingham, right?
It was in Nottingham,
in your backyard.
Yeah, and I just started filming on my camera.
How far was that from your house?
I think 4 hours, 4-hour drive.
Okay, so you had to be there 'cause it was in your backyard.
Yeah.
And you just basically bought a ticket and then snuck in.
Yep. I mean, at the time, I didn't even know most of the grapplers. I was still like very new to jiu-jitsu, and I remember getting interviews with Cron Gracie, Andre Galvao afterwards, Jeff Glover. I didn't know who they were at the time.
Really, you just knew they were awesome because they were at this tournament, so they had to be good.
Yeah, I was just getting into it, you know.
You're like, well, you're at this tournament, so you must be good. I'm gonna interview you.
Yeah, I got an interview with Hickson as well when I was there.
And you had no idea?
I don't know. Actually, no, I knew who. I kind of knew who he was, but I didn't really know how popular he was. You know, how much.
You didn't realize he was an immortal legend that you can never speak badly about. Otherwise, you will get crucified by the entire community, like Keenan.
Yep. Yeah. He's getting roasted right now. He's
still on administrative leave for that little mishap. So, as his supervisor, I had to suspend him for a bit to cool off the temperature in the community. They were really upset about it. So, but now he's paying the price with his eyeball infection. So his eyeballs are melting out of his head. Probably a Brazilian curse that was thrown at him from somewhere.
The timing of it.
Yeah. So, Keenan's out. Keenan's out.
Don't say anything bad about the Gracies.
Don't. You can't talk bad about Hickson ever. You can't have opinions. It's not allowed. So anyways, guys, just so you know, Keenan is suffering miserably with an eye infection. I asked him to come join us for this. You know, he's back home now. He's right down the street from me, like literally 2 miles away. But he's so contagious with that EKC virus. And I had that virus, as you guys remember from episode 8. I had that horrible eye infection for 3 weeks right before I fought Mateus at Kasai. And so I feel very badly for Keenan because I know how miserable he is right now. Anyways, 2011 ADCC.
Yeah, so after that, Dennis Ash, I sent him an email saying, I don't know if you've seen these videos, but I would love to come out to Brazil and, you know, make more of these videos. And I'll put your Connection Real logo on it, like promote your jiu-jitsu hostel. And in return, I would love a free place to stay and just free training, you know. And he emailed back instantly and said, yeah, like, I'd love to have you out here right away. So yeah, pretty much went out there within the next month, and when I was there, he put me in contact with Murilo Bustamante and Husamar Palhares, and this is when Taquino was, you know, leg locking everybody, terrifying, and after 2011,
right?
And fortunately, things always kind of fell into place because I filmed his matches at ADCC 2011, and then I ended up in Brazil filming in his gym. And that kind of made the video, like that was pretty much what the video was about. It's actually one of the first videos on my YouTube channel. So it was all about his performance at ADCC.
Do you remember that guy that was being heel hooked by Palhares and they spun out of balance and they
David
stopped?
David Avellin, right?
And they reset him in the heel hook. Like, I think he was tapping as they were going out of bounds, but like, I think he was tapping after they had said stop, right? And then they reset him in the heel hook with Palhares.
Yeah. Was it a heel hook or a knee bar?
Heel hook. Yeah, it was a heel hook.
Yeah.
I remember. I watched it like 100 times. And they said, go. And then Rootsmar just rips it as hard as he can. And the guy just starts screaming, ah! I was like, oh my God.
That was a bad one. He heel hooked Lovato as well at that tournament.
Successfully.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone submit Lovato.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's the only, have you ever seen Lovato get submitted other than that? Because I haven't.
No, I haven't. No.
He's got long legs though.
Yeah.
And Husmar.
And he was actually playing a good game with Takino. I remember he was playing butterfly guard.
Keeping those legs on the inside.
Yeah,
That's a smart guard to play against.
I'm
a
not
leg
sure.
locker.
Yeah, he was having a hard time sweeping Takino, and then I'm not sure.
Oh, dude's a panzer, man.
Yeah, it's fighting Gordon Ryan soon. I heard.
And third coast grappling, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not as uneventful as Craig versus Husamar Paharas. That goes down in history as the worst jiu-jitsu match ever.
It was very anticlimactic.
Name a jiu-jitsu match that's worse than that match.
Brendan Shaw versus Cyborg.
I think even that match that was bad. That was bad. That was bad. But even then, there was at least more action because we could watch Brendan running away. Whereas Craig and Husamar stayed in the exact same position for 10 minutes. The position never changed. It was Craig on his butt with butterfly guard and Husamar just pushing him back for 10 minutes. It's almost like it was like Craig doing an abdominal workout. He was just doing sit-ups and like Husamar was just pushing him down like his partner.
Was it more Takino not really
They both fucked up.
Yeah.
They both could have done something different. Like after 5 minutes of that, both of them could have made a decision to try something different.
You find that with these matches, they get so much hype. Like in UFC, it was Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. Everyone was excited for that. Like it was going to be someone's going to get finished. And then it was just the worst UFC fight ever.
Right.
You know, it's just, when you expect so much, it sometimes just doesn't deliver.
Jiu-jitsu is all about matchups. You know, it's all about matchups. It's not like just like a great guy versus a great guy. And that's going to be a great match. No, it has to do with matchups. Because you know how they say jiu-jitsu math doesn't add up. Just because you beat me and if I beat, let's say Lucas, that doesn't mean you're 2 times better than Lucas, right? That doesn't mean that you will crush Lucas. It's very common in jiu-jitsu that you beat me, I beat Lucas, and Lucas beats you. That's very common, right? The triangle effect. Just because one person beats someone doesn't mean it's not a domino. You know, it's not a hierarchy.
Yeah, it's styles, isn't it?
It's styles. It's just styles, man. Styles and strategies. And the way they match up, there's no formula to it. You just never know. Putting 2 great grapplers together could be the boringest match ever if their styles don't create an exciting match.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Right. Craig and Paharas.
Yeah, let's hope Gordon's is more exciting, eh?
Well, I mean, I think Gordon's got... He's got other tools.
He's got decent wrestling, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got other tools. Yeah. You know, I don't know. We'll see what happens. When is that for? November?
I think that's November. I actually sent an email to the organizer. His name's Ryan.
Ryan, yeah.
Yeah, I sent him an Instagram message. Yes, saying, hey, would it be okay if I turned up and filmed and made a highlight and got some footage for some future videos? And he hit me back right away. And
he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he said, yeah, definitely.
Shout out to Third Coast Grappling for coming out of the woodworks and putting on cool shows. I was supposed to fight Craig on that event.
Right.
As I mentioned before, but it didn't happen.
Changed the date.
It's all good. We're going to work something out in the future. Nice. So wait, where were we on your timeline now?
I ended up in Brazil at Connection.
Yes.
Rio.
So how long did you stay in Brazil?
I was there for 3 or 4 months. Yeah, just over 3 months.
I feel like I need to do that.
Yeah,
I need to go hang out in Rio for 3 months.
Yeah, unfortunately, Connection Rio is not there anymore.
Nah, it's all right. I have friends.
Yeah, you'll have a great time.
At this point in my career, I have enough friends in every country that I could pretty much go anywhere. So it was like hanging out in Rio for 3 months.
It was good. Made a lot of friends there. A lot of them I keep in contact today. And that's really where my filming career kind of took off, because I made a documentary on Kira Gracie when I was there.
You were basically just hanging out, training, and making films.
Yeah.
So
that's all I was doing.
Wake up, train, go home, chill, work on some videos.
Yep. But I wasn't earning money when I was there, so my money ran out. I wasn't actually making money from the videos with ad space when I was there. So
not yet.
I wanted to stay a bit longer, but
what year is this? 2012?
This was 2011.
11. Yeah. After ADCC.
And I left just after 20. I think I ended up back in England, January 2012.
So you went to Rio after ADCC?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after 2012, actually in Rio, I went up to Recife, to Braulio Steamer's old academy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was up there, I met the promoter of Cage Warriors, a guy called Patrick Vickers. And just through meeting him, he actually, when I back in England, he gave me a job with Cage Warriors, like as the videographer. So I ended up traveling all around Europe, Jordan, Lebanon, Dubai, just making highlight videos, for Cage Warriors. Then from there, I ended up going all around. I think I went back to Brazil with Braulio Steamer. I went to America a few times filming, and then I ended up in Thailand.
Didn't you tell me one time that before we get to Thailand, because I know that's a whole other chapter in your life.
Yeah.
Weren't you telling me that Braulio hired you to film an event? What event was that?
It was the BJJ Expo, and he was supposed to go up against Nick Diaz. But Nick Diaz, he was there, but for some reason he didn't show the day of. So for whatever reason, that was the event where Kron Gracie fought Victor Estima, and he almost got into a bit of a rumble afterwards.
Really?
Yeah.
You know anything about that?
Yeah, I know how it all started. Victor fought Kron in, I can't remember which, it was the Pans or something, and he beat Kron. And when he won, he went like, Victor went like this.
Made a baby cradle?
But he just had a baby.
Oh.
But Kron didn't know. So Kron thought that
he was taunting him.
Making fun. So then they had a rematch at the Expo, and when Kron won, Kron did it back to him. And then like flipped him off or something. And then Braulio's in the crowd going, "Yo, what are you doing?" And then Kron walks up to him, like shoulder barges him. And then that's where the beef started. But I think they're cool now.
Yeah, that's just a misunderstanding.
Complete misunderstanding.
Oh, dang it. He was probably like, "I did it for my baby." Like, doing the cradle arms. Dang it.
Yeah. There was some good matches though.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else was on that. Jeff Glover, he fought Caio Terra and he won.
What event was that?
That was the BJJ World Expo.
BJJ World Expo
2012.
Man, Glover and Kyle have had quite a few matches, haven't they?
They had a rematch at Metamoris, and Kyle submitted Jeff.
Yeah.
With an armbar.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember.
Bill Cooper was on that event in the Expo.
Yeah? Who'd he fight?
I can't remember the guy's name. Is it Nino? El Nino?
I don't know.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Dang it. I've always looked up to Jeff and Bill. Like when I was a purple belt, like they were the guys that I looked up to.
Yeah, I like his style, Bill Cooper.
Yeah, they go for it. Yeah, they're super exciting. They're super
very
weird.
exciting.
They have no egos. Like if they get smitted trying to go for something, they didn't care. He didn't walk off the mat. You never saw Bill cry. He just shook it off like whatever.
I think that event was the first time Jeff Glover started to develop the donkey guard. Exposing his back and
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Dang it, Jeff, such a legend. He just bought a new motorcycle. I saw it on Instagram. I told him, I said, "Man, I'm gonna get a motorcycle. We're gonna ride around and just terrorize LA."
Yeah.
Just a couple American jiu-jitsu gangsters.
I'd love to do it. I always intended to do a video on Jeff Glover, but things never lined up. Because I have a lot of footage of him from 2011, the Expo, 2015, but just never had the chance to, meet up with him properly.
Well, he'll be there this week, I would imagine.
Yeah.
He's right in his backyard. Like he lives up in that area. So I'm sure you'll see him there. Shout out to Jeff Glover, the pipe layer. You're a fucking legend.
Yeah.
Okay. So Thailand, what brought you to Thailand?
I pretty much did the same thing. I emailed Tiger Muay Thai. And
what year is this?
This was 2012.
2012.
Like towards the end of 2012. And I sent them a message saying pretty much the same thing. Hey, I'd love to come out to Thailand and, check out these videos I've done. Would you give me a free place to stay? Free food and free training. I actually asked for food this time.
Yeah.
In exchange for me, being brought on as an intern, to do videos of
what belt were you?
Camp. I was a purple belt this time.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, Tiger Muay Thai is like the place to train Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's a few good places now, but Tiger Muay Thai has been around the longest.
Right.
Yeah.
And a few other places in that area, like are you talking about like Phuket Top Team?
Yeah, Phuket Top Team's there. They've got AKA there, and
are there any other
they're the main ones?
Are there any other like really awesome Muay Thai camps that you can go to that are not in Thailand? Like, what's a really good one outside of Thailand?
Outside of Thailand,
maybe in Holland or something.
Probably, yeah. I'm not familiar with them though. But I actually went out to Thailand with the intention of. I still had MMA in my head. I really wanted to do MMA. I actually had 2 amateur fights in England. Then I went out to Thailand and I wanted to really focus on Muay Thai.
Like real Muay Thai.
Yes. But then when I got there was a 4th degree black belt teacher called Fernando Macachero. And I just ended up training jiu-jitsu all the time.
He was teaching jiu-jitsu at Tiger.
Yeah. He just arrived there. So the jiu-jitsu was really good when I arrived there. The level of training partners wasn't good, but the instruction was good.
Got it.
So yeah, shout out to Fernando. I'm not sure where he is now, but he's a good friend. He was a great coach.
Cool.
Yeah, I really like that guy.
Fernando, wherever you're at,
Fernando Macachero.
shoot us a message.
Yep.
Okay, so this is 2012. You're in Thailand now, trying to attain Muay Thai, but you ended up training jiu-jitsu. How long did you stay in Thailand?
So I ended up being there. I went out there with the intention of being at 3 months, but I
sucked into the black hole.
I did. So when I went out to Brazil, I thought Brazil would get a hold of me. I thought, right, I'm going to go out to Brazil. I'm going to live there.
You're going to fall in love with a Brazilian girl.
Right.
Get married.
And I mean, I liked it, but I wasn't keen on staying. But when I went to Thailand, I don't know what it is about that place, but that was it. I ended up staying for a year. And then, I've been on and off there since recently,
When you were in Brazil, did you have a Brazilian girlfriend?
No.
That's part of the experience, man.
Well, at the time, actually,
you had a real girlfriend?
I had a girlfriend back in England at the time, yeah.
Okay, that's a good excuse. Okay. Yeah, so Thailand is a bit of a black hole. You can very easily, in a good way, not in like a rip your body apart with high levels of gravity kind of way, but more like once you're there, you're not leaving.
It's because it's so cheap. The accommodation is cheap, food is cheap, and I don't know, it's like
super chill.
It's super chill, it's beautiful, and it's like there's a certain sense of freedom. You can just... Ooh, what happened then?
You're good.
Oh, I can't hear.
You can't hear it? I can hear you. Keep talking.
Okay? Oh, there you go. Yeah. I thought I touched something.
No, we're good.
What is it? Yeah. It's like you get this like a certain sense of freedom there.
Sometimes some might argue, I've heard, too much freedom. So if you don't have some self-control, you can kind of lose yourself.
Well, that just happened to me.
Does that happen to you? I've heard of it happen to a few people.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so much freedom that,
you lose, touch with reality a little bit, the real world,
And we're talking about Phuket. And Phuket is an island.
Yep.
Right? It's a very kind of special island where on one side of the island is all the training camps, right? The Tiger Road is where in Phuket Top Team, and I don't know, AKA is not on that road, right? AKA is kind of somewhere else, but and on the other side of the island is Party Town, right? What's the beach called? The
party town is called Patong.
Yeah, Patong.
Yeah, you don't want to go there. I mean, I don't like it. I mean, I'm not really into drinking and partying at all, really. I used to be.
That's where
I stopped.
That's where all the acid dropping, ecstasy chugging.
Oh yeah.
College kids are raging.
Lady boys running around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just debauchery and filth.
Yep. I mean, it's just in Thailand you can do whatever the fuck you want, and
if you got a few bucks, you can get it.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you can just drive around on a motorbike with no license, no insurance, and if the police pull you over, just pay them off, and they leave you alone. I mean, you can go and
pay the fine.
Yep, just pay the fine. Just pay them. They don't care.
It's not bribery. You're paying the fine.
Yep. I mean, if I was to drive around on a motorbike with no license and insurance here, oh man, I'm in deep shit.
Right, of course.
But in Thailand, just give them the equivalent of $30. You're all good.
Scot free.
Yep. Yeah, I actually had an experience in Thai prison one night.
You got to tell the story, man. You can't be saying that, not tell the story. Let's go.
So
Let's hear it.
I just went to one of the reggae bars and I picked up probably 1,000 bahts worth of weed.
1,000 bahts
of hashish.
That's like $300.
No, 1,000 baht. That's like 20 UK pounds, 30 UK pounds, which is what?
Okay,
$40.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah. That sounds right.
And I was just daydreaming on the way back. I just picked up the weed. Had a whole evening planned. I'm gonna go home. I stopped off, get some burritos from one of the Mexican places.
This is back when weed is still illegal.
Yes, it still is, but it's now being legalized for medical use.
Okay.
So you need a prescription.
Good for you, Thailand.
Yep.
We're coming along.
So on the way back, I'm just completely daydreaming, and then there's a police checkpoint right in front of me.
Wow.
And I'm going really fast,
wait,
and then I realize...
I have a sound effect for this. Let me find it. Nope, not that one. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Sorry.
So, yeah, then I'm like, oh, shit.
Whoops.
And then it was right in my pocket. I had no time to hide it, and I had no time to turn around. So I start slowing down.
If you turn around, they see that, right?
Yeah, they'll come after you. It probably would have
you.
been, but I was on one side of the road, so there's like a barrier in the middle, so you can't turn around. If you turn around, you're going up the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
And then if you do catch her, even more trouble.
Right.
So I started slowing down, and then I was just thinking to myself, oh no, I didn't know what the laws were at the time. I'm like thinking, all I'm thinking is Thai prison.
Yeah.
You know, oh shit.
What's that movie, The Midnight Express?
I don't think I've seen it, but I've seen films with, set in Thai prison, and that's the worst place to be in the world. You don't want to go into prison in Thailand. Right. So I started slowing down, and then all I'm thinking is, shit, well, for sure, they're going to find it. So I started speeding up. I started trying to go through them, but I didn't have time to properly speed up, so they kind of, kicked me off my bike, and then
you were going to run.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna make a run for it.
Yeah.
Because I
wasn't really thinking straight. I was panicking.
Well, okay, if you did run, and maybe you get into a little high speed chase, and you can ditch the drugs and just get pulled over for being an asshole.
Yep.
Right. Not going to prison for having drugs.
Yep.
Was that your thought process?
There was no thought process. There was no thought process. Just panic. Just get the fuck out of here. I was just thinking maybe I can get away with it. Okay. So yeah,
they kind of kicked you off the bike.
Kicked me off the bike, and then they give me a little bit of a kick in the floor, picked me up, put my bike at the side of the road, took the keys out of it, and then they didn't have handcuffs, but they had the plastic. What do you call them?
Yeah, the zip ties.
Yeah, and then they zip tied my hands behind my back and searched me, and sure enough, found the weed. And then I was like, oh no, this is it. I'm like, what am I going to do? Am I going to call up my mom?
I can only imagine how terrified you are.
I know, I was terrified. I was like, I'm going to call my mom and dad. Like, Mom, I'm in Thai prison. Can you imagine that?
Right.
So I'm sat at the side of the road for a good 4 hours before they actually take me in. They put me in a Thai prison, and I'm actually in this, I'm behind bars with some French dude who was drunk over the limit. Another Thai guy was over the limit, and there was 2 prostitutes in there screaming. And then I started. I was in there for a few.
Prostitution's illegal in Thailand?
No, actually, no, it is. Prostitution is illegal.
Or was it like the drugs? Like they got caught with some drugs?
Probably, yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, I don't know. Who knows, man?
Who gets in trouble in Thailand for prostitution?
I know it is illegal, but it's
officially illegal.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why it's illegal, because it's so common now.
Right.
That's why people go there. A lot of people, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Not me, but yeah, I know.
Yeah. So what happened then? Then after a few hours, I started calling the policeman and said, "Hey, I want to get out of here." And he's like, "Okay, I can help you." I'm like, "How can you help me?" And we had trouble communicating. Obviously, I didn't speak Thai, I didn't speak English, so we came back with an iPad. And then we started communicating on Google Translate. And he's like, "I can help you, but you must pay me." I'm like, "Okay, I pay you whatever you want." And he's like, 50,000 baht. I'm like, "Okay, no problem." So they brought me out of the cell. They took me in the office, and they sat me down. They said, "Right, we're going to take you back to your room. We're going to come in with you. We're going to get your passport. And then you're going to, basically, they take my passport, and then I have to return the next day with the money." So
they'll hold your passport until you come bring the money back.
Yes. So I can't leave the country.
Leave. Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah. I give him my passport, and then I go to the bank account. I've got barely any money. I didn't have 50,000 baht. That's probably about $1,500. So not that bad.
$1,500.
$1,500.
Not
bad at all.
For your freedom out of Thai
I could be
prison.
wrong. I'm not sure.
It's 50,000 divided by 3.
Right.
No, divided by 30. So 30,000 would be $1,000. Yeah, so you're about right. It's probably $1,600 US.
So
less than 2,000.
Yeah, didn't sleep the next day. I didn't have the money, and then I bumped into Alex Shield, and I told Alex what happened, and Alex is
just some dude living in Thailand.
Yeah, he's been there since since before me. He's been there a long time.
Yeah, so guys, this is where things get weird, because Alex was my white belt student in Tucson, Arizona in 2009, 10, and 11, and I gave Alex his blue belt. And right after I gave him his blue belt, he graduated from college. He went to China to study abroad for a semester. He went to Thailand for vacation after his study abroad, and then he never left. And he's still there to this day.
He's still there now.
Yeah, he's there to this day, and I'm going to go see. He's the guy that I stay with when I go to visit.
He's the assistant jiu-jitsu coach at Tiger Muay Thai.
Yeah.
He's been doing it quite a while now.
So you just ran into him randomly?
I ran into him. I told him what happened and how much money they wanted and how I'm screwed. He's like, dude, just give them 5,000 baht. They're just trying to scare you. They'll take. And he was reassuring me. I think it happened to him. I'm not sure. Or one of his friends. He was saying, dude, don't give him 50. Just give him 5. They'll be happy with 5,000 baht. And I'm like, you sure? And he's like, trust me. So I went back to the police station with 5,000 baht, and they were trying to scare me. They were saying, oh, like, this isn't enough. And eventually they're like, okay, we'll take 5,000 baht and just let me go. Give me my passport back. Wow.
Shout out to Alex Shield for saving the day, saving Stuart 45,000 baht.
Yeah. I actually had this. I had another run with the police literally 3 weeks ago, like literally a few days before I left to come over here. And I'd just gone to the reggae bar to get some mushrooms. And I was
the place, the reggae bar? Is that the place?
Yeah, you get everything at the reggae bar. If you want psychedelics or weed or stuff like that, you just go to the reggae bar. And I just finished working out at the gym, and I wanted to have a little mushroom experience at night. Yeah. A little mushroom trip. And
because you're leaving, you just want to.
Yeah, and I've been experimenting with microdosing. Okay. So that was really the main reason. I wanted to dry them out and put them in little capsules and start trying that out. Because I've been reading a lot about it, hearing a lot about it on different podcasts.
And this will make more sense when you guys hear the later story that's to come. Yeah. Right. There's a reason for this little journey.
I pick up these mushrooms, and I'd just been to the gym. I had my gym bag with me. I was on my bike, and I'd left the reggae bar. And then on the way back, I didn't have my helmet on. And then I'm almost at my house, and then the 2 police pull alongside me. I'm like, oh, fuck. And in front, the mushrooms are in a white carrier bag, just a 7-Eleven bag, hooked on the front of my bike.
Like a plastic bag that you put a soda bottle.
Yeah. And there's 1,000 bahts of mushrooms in there, right there, clear as day. But you can't see unless you look in the bag.
Right.
So you can't see that I've got a bag of mushrooms. It probably just looks like a bag of shopping.
Right.
The police pull me over. I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. I'm so fucked. And then,
having flashbacks to the...
Yeah. This time I didn't try and do a runaway though. I was actually thinking this time, I was like, right, all I'm thinking is, right, I'm going to have to pay him off. Right. How much money have I got? And I was like, okay, I've got enough money. No matter what, I'm going to be okay. I just have to pay him a lot of money. And I didn't want to do that because I'm about to relocate to Canada. The whole thing.
Taking a trip to California.
Yeah, and I was saving. I was like, right, this is all my savings, basically gone. Right. They pulled me over. They got me off my bike, and they told me they would pull me over because I didn't have my helmet on. And then they patted me down. They made me hand my hands out. They patted me down. Right. They got my gym bag. They looked inside the gym bag. They looked inside the bike.
Right. They lifted up the seat.
They completely missed the bag of mushrooms right in front of them. And I thought they were fucking with me. I thought they knew. And I don't know how they missed
they're just mentally fucking with you. Let's make this guy think he's going to get away.
And all I'm thinking is, oh, they're going to see it. They're going to see it. They're going to see it. And I didn't want to look at the bag. They saw my eye, where I'm looking. So I was like, don't look at it. Don't look at it. Just play cool. Play cool. And then, they told me to get back on my bike and on my way.
They told you to get lost?
Yeah. I can't believe they missed it. It was like a scene from a film. I was like, how did they not see it right? But I had that thought when I went to the reggae bar. I was like, should I put the mushrooms in my gym bag or should I put them in the bike out of sight? And I even had the thought, actually, it's probably better to have them out in the open.
Hide them in plain sight.
Yeah, so it's less suspicious. Yeah. And thank God that I actually did that.
There you go, guys. There's a lesson on on trafficking drugs.
Yeah.
Is that... Sorry, so we have an room entry. So that's the lesson. The lesson is to hide your drugs in plain sight.
Yep. That was scary. That was scary.
Wow. Count your blessings, bro. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm always getting in situations.
So that was 3 weeks ago.
That was literally 3 weeks ago.
I should have a sound effect for that. Let's see what we got here. Nope, not that one. Nope. There it is. Congratulations. You didn't go to jail. I still don't know. I still don't remember which buttons do which sounds, so I'm always kind of guessing. Anyways.
Yeah, so
how were the mushrooms?
They were good. Yeah, no, what I actually did is I dried them out and using a fan, I just put them on some toilet, a kitchen roll. And then put a fan on them, dried them out over 2 days until they're crisp dry. And then, you just take a little amount, put them in a capsule, and then you just take one little capsule. You're barely taking anything. And the idea is you go 5 days on, 2 days off, and you stack it with lion's mane mushroom. And this is the idea of microdosing. And it just kind of makes, everything better. It makes the day go better. It makes your creativity better. It makes you happier, It's there's a lot of science going into this right now, with psychedelics.
Right. I've been hearing.
Yeah,
I have never tried one. I've never ever tried a psychedelic. I've never tried a mushroom. I've never tried acid. I've never tried nothing that's a hallucinogenic. Never tried it.
I would say, obviously we're going to get onto that, but I had a strong reason for doing a large dose of psychedelics a few years ago. But a good place to start is, microdosing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah.
From a lot of people, actually.
Yeah, people microdose LSD, mushrooms. Actually, mushrooms are now got legalized in Colorado, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Actually, you can get it. They're not legal, but
Colorado.
In Vancouver. I went into Vancouver, this shop the other day, and literally just bought some mushrooms over the counter, like for $25.
In Vancouver?
Vancouver, yeah.
No prescription needed, nothing like
that?
Wow.
Nope, and it's actually illegal for them to do that.
Interesting.
It was that easy. So I have some at my house, and I'm going to microdose when I get back. I did not want to bring them here.
Nah,
too risky.
Crossing international borders is always another level of prison.
Mm-hmm. There's no paying your way out of this one.
Man, when I went to Singapore, when I was in Thailand last year, and then I went to Singapore for a seminar, and I had some edibles with me in Thailand. And then I was like, I just heard, I was like, you cannot mess around with Singapore. Like, you don't joke around.
They really scare you because they say there's death penalty.
Yeah. The signs on the wall at the airport say death by hanging.
Yeah.
For drug smugglers, right? So drug smugglers, anyone crossing a border with any kind of drugs that are illegal. Mm. And it says death by hanging. They will hang your ass.
It's ridiculous.
From a rope.
Yeah, for what? For some weed?
Yeah, for some THC edibles, And I was like, oh my God. I had an issue in Singapore too because my passport didn't have 6 months on it. It only had 5.
I remember. Yeah,
5.5. And they were like, you cannot enter Singapore. And I was like, what?
But it has 5.5 months left, so...
Yeah. And I was
what is a stupid rule?
I was only staying for 3 days, you know? But I guess the idea is like, if you get hurt and you get stuck in the hospital, you need to have enough time to make a full recovery and then get out on time. And I was like, what are the odds? Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
They ended up letting me in. I just had to be really polite and wait a little bit. And then they were like, okay, you can go in because I already had my exit flight and it was only 2 days. And yeah, they were cool. But like, they definitely told me you cannot go into Singapore. And I was like, what?
Yeah. I lived in Singapore for a year teaching at Evolve MMA.
Oh, yeah.
That was an experience in itself. Oof.
So we're not there yet in the timeline yet.
No, we're not. Okay. No, we're still in Thailand, right?
We're in Thailand, and you avoided Thai prison. Or you got out of Thai prison. You bribed your way out with 5,000 baht.
5,000 baht.
And you were in Thailand for a long time, though, right?
Yeah, I was there all the way up to 2013. And when I was in Thailand, that's when I actually flew out to Beijing to film the ADCC. Again, I did not have...
2013.
Any credentials. I didn't have a backstage pass, but there's a story. I actually snuck my way into that, but there was like zero security. I'm there filming the ADCC first day, all second day, and the whole time I'm making out that I'm doing photography,
right?
Because you're not allowed to do video. I think Budo Videos were paying some other company to do the live stream.
Because Flow wasn't around yet. Still,
Flow wasn't around. And then the last match of the last day, Buchecha versus Cyborg, the absolute finals. That's when that was
semifinals. Nope.
That was the absolute final.
That was finals, yeah.
Cyborg beat Buchecha.
Cyborg beat Keenan in the semifinals.
Yes. Yeah, that was a good match. And then they clocked on to me. They saw that I was doing video. Some Chinese guy, like quite an important guy in a suit. It's like, you film. It's like, no, photo. Don't worry, photo. It's like, you film. And then he grabs my camera.
Oh, no.
And then I didn't know who he was. And then I kind of grabbed him by the...
You grabbed him back.
Yeah, like, yo, fuck you.
Yeah.
Get away from the camera.
My camera back, bro.
And next thing you know, like a little, a commotion starts happening. So I missed most of the match. This is going on. I'm like, how have I, they've only just noticed now. And then luckily, Dean Lister comes to the rescue. you know, and one of the Chinese guys speak Portuguese and Dean Lister speaks Portuguese. So he managed to calm the situation down. But these Chinese guys are trying to get my SD cards, my flash cards off me with all the video footage from the last few days.
Oh my God.
So Dean turns around and is like, get your flash cards, like, get out of here now.
Yeah.
So he distracted him. I got my flash cards, got my camera, stuffed them down my pants, and then I'm out of there. You know, I think I got the last little bit of the Cyborg match, the final. Yeah, and got out of there. Whew. And look, funnily enough, this company contacted me a few months afterwards because they fucked up the live stream and missed a lot of the matches. They wanted my footage. Like, hey, can you help us out? Like, you're like, what? You were trying to stop me, and now you want my footage? Like,
actually, I was only taking photos.
Yeah. So then, actually, 2015, they allowed me in this time. I think they realized, right, let's just let him in. Let's just let him do his highlight. So actually, I was allowed in this time.
That was Brazil.
That was Brazil, 2015, yeah.
The only thing I remember about China was that really ugly yellow mats.
Man, yeah. Actually, no, I think it was very ugly. There was great matches that year, but the mats were very ugly. But actually, 2015, that was actually worse.
That was in Brazil.
On camera, anyway. Like, it was the mats to the room, you know, the lighting. It did not look good on camera, you know. Like, if you look at my 2015 highlight, it was very hard to kind of color grade that. It didn't look very good. 2011, the image quality was great, but 2015 it wasn't. It's very grainy and it was dark in there.
And what was the last? The last one was Finland.
Finland, and I didn't go to Finland.
You didn't go there. Okay.
Oh no, I wish I missed out.
There's a reason for that. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on.
So
China. You survived. You survived China.
Survived China. Ended up back.
You survived Thailand. You survived China.
Yeah. And now I end up back in Thailand, and I ended up. This is where things started to go bad. I started traveling around. You know, as you can see, if people followed me on Instagram and Facebook at that time, I was doing a lot of traveling. I was traveling country to country to country, doing video on this guy. And you know what jet lag's like. It's horrible.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these long flights, I wasn't very smart. I was young at the time. I was 27. I was very ignorant. And yeah, I was always doing these long journeys, you know, not taking the proper time to rest, to, you know, how do you say?
Recover.
Yeah, recover. Is it acclimate?
Acclimate.
What's wrong with me? Yeah, to the time zone. And in Thailand, you can buy these pills called diazepam over the counter, and they're really cheap. And basically, at the time, I just thought, I didn't really think anything of it. I didn't do my research. I'm very careful with everything I take right now. But these things are very dangerous. You know, they're incredibly addictive. You shouldn't take them no longer than 3 days. And basically, diazepam is like an anti-anxiety or a sleep medication. So I was taking these originally for long flights, you know, and I would have to leave Thailand.
You just sleep. It would just help you sleep on the plane.
It would help me sleep on the plane. Yeah. And when I arrived and I was jet lagged, I would take them to knock myself out. And I had to leave Thailand every month. When I was there, I didn't have a visa or a work permit. So you had to get in a minibus and go 12 hours one way to the border. 12 hours in a minivan, all crunched up, like can hardly move. And then you cross the border and then you turn around and on the way back in, you pay them off. Come back in 12 hours back the way. So the only way you can do that is like, well, for me anyway, I get very irritable on long journeys, is I was popping these diazepams. Right. So I was traveling so much. I ended up taking these diazepams like a lot. And it got to the point where I was taking them every day. Like every day.
It became a habit to sleep habit.
Yeah. And I didn't even realize what was going on. And this was going on for quite a few years. And those never really got out of hand. Even I was probably taking a few of them every day, maybe like 2 or 3.
Do you build a tolerance to them too? Do you find like...
You build a tolerance, but not as much as opiates.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
so you found yourself maybe taking a little bit more after a period of time?
Yeah, I never ended up taking more than 3.
Okay.
3 or 4 diazepams. And those things, like, they make you feel... When you wake up in the morning, you feel horrible. You feel
a little groggy.
Groggy, you can't think, you can't concentrate, you feel depressed.
Kind of hungover.
Yeah, like a bad hangover. And the only way to make yourself better is take one. And then boom, you're back. You're yourself. You can function. So it got to the point where I couldn't wake up and get on with my day unless I took one.
Right.
And things were going so well for me at the time. I was having a lot of offers, a lot of video projects. So
business was booming.
I kind of knew there was a problem here, but
Right.
I didn't really, I was like, man, this is not a good time to stop. I've got to keep this momentum up.
Right.
So then these things stopped having, an effect. They weren't working as well anymore. So I started, actually, it was from an injury. My doctor put me on something called tramadol, which is kind of like Oxycontin.
Which injury are we talking about?
I think it was my foot at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a lot of injuries. I've had a lot of injuries over the years.
Yeah, well, you travel and train. That's the recipe for injury.
Yep. And yeah, I kind of realized if you mix tramadol with diazepam, that flight, that 18-hour flight will be like, boom, 20 minutes. Because you just pass the fuck out.
You're just out.
You're
and
out.
then you wake up on the next runway and you're like, I'm here.
Yep. Yeah. So I didn't actually mind flying. So when I got on a flight, I was like, I'll just take these.
Right.
But that's actually a deadly combination. If you look at Prince, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Whitney Houston, a lot of WWE wrestlers, the deadly concoction that ends these people is usually a benzodiazepine with opiates.
Really?
And a bit of alcohol on top of that. Because basically they relax you so much that in your sleep you may not wake up.
Your diaphragm just relaxes
you could
so
die.
much.
Yeah, you could die in your sleep, which is what happened to Heath Ledger. I think he had a mix of Xanax, which is pretty much the same as diazepam, Vicodin, and I think it's alcohol, and I think he even had some
glasses of
heroin. Yeah, and he never woke up. I think I don't know what the really details were, but this is a big problem. This is it's happening all over the world. America and England.
Oh yeah, man. Even now, there's a lot of police officers that train at Atos, and they said right now it's the opiates in San Diego.
Yeah,
the opiates. It's an epidemic. It's
an epidemic in England as well. It's crazy. So yeah, I ended up taking these tramadols with diazepam, and it was the tramadols that got out of control. So originally you take one becomes two become three, to get that same effect.
It's just like a night at the bar, man. Yeah. One drink turns into two drinks. You might even go in there saying, I'm just going to have one drink. And then you have that one drink, and then all of a sudden your judgment goes to shit. And then all of a sudden it's 2 drinks and 3 drinks. And then you wake up vomiting in the garbage can.
Yeah, so I'm not even going to say how many I was taking at one point.
The point is it got out of control.
But I was taking a lot, just for me to function in my day, I would have to wake up and take a mouthful of pills, just to function, just to, communicate with people. And I was in denial that I had a problem,
right.
So, sorry.
Or you knew you had a problem, but you feel like, I
was ignoring it.
Right. I'll solve this later.
Yes,
right?
I'll solve it later. Yeah. Now's not a good time. I will solve it, but not right now.
I got too much going on. I have business to do. I have contracts. I have videos. I have clients.
Yep.
I'm going to power through this, and I'm going to solve my problem later.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is like addiction. It can... growing up, I've always been a very healthy person, always putting good stuff in my body, always been into exercise, So for me to get addicted to these kind of pills, it shows that it could pretty much happen to anyone.
Yeah.
It's very... Even now, it's very hard to look back and damn, I did that. That was me. So after doing this for quite a few years, it really started to affect my my physical health and my mental health. My weight went all the way down. I've always been... What
year are we in now? Are we in 2000?
So now this started around 2014, 15, 16. So actually maybe 2013 it started. Yeah, I think it started around 2013, 14,
13 was
15,
Beijing, right? That was the Beijing ADCC, 2013.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah, I remember I was definitely taking them then as
well. So we're in 2014, 15 now.
Yeah. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't a big problem in 2013. It got a problem after that.
All right.
Because you have to take more to get the same effect.
Right.
Like I said, if you wake up in the morning, you just feel horrible and, you can't function for the day.
Just like alcohol, right?
Yeah.
You after a while, you build a tolerance, and one beer, remember your first beer, right? Your first beer messes you up.
Yeah.
Pretty much now anyone can drink a beer. Like at this point in our lives, we can drink a beer and there's nothing, right? Because your body builds a tolerance over time.
Yep.
We all know what tolerance is.
I actually don't drink
alcohol
at all.
Not at all, but I drink a beer once a year.
Yeah, every now and then it's okay. I actually don't like the feeling.
Yeah, I don't either.
Kind of reminds me of what I went through. So that's why.
Okay.
I like to wake up and feel good every day now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, Yeah, I'm not going back to that place. So where was I up to?
Oh, shoot. I don't know.
Yeah.
You were taking...
it started to affect my physical health.
And you were taking mouthfuls, handfuls.
So I've always been into sport, always been very physical. I was always around 88 kilograms. You know, that's my weight right now. I'm probably about 90 kilograms right now. So when I met you actually at 5 Grappling, that was when I was at my very worst.
That was 2014.
Yes, and I was 70 kilograms. And I didn't even realize. You know, I used to lift weights all the time, train jiu-jitsu every day.
Well, you had that really badass profile picture for a long time. With
and that's how I always looked.
You had your backpack and no shirt, and you were just shredded, bro. Jacked, shredded, like huge.
And I changed. That all disappeared. And I didn't even realize it disappeared. These things get a hold of you quick. And it also they change your personality. I became a completely different person. You know, I actually fell out of a lot of people.
Like more grumpy, like more... irritable or just like
irritable, grumpy, selfish, incredibly that's what addiction does. It's like you just become so like self-centered.
Right.
Yeah. So what happened?
You're still working at Tiger at the time?
I wasn't actually left, but I was always going back. I was basically traveling around America doing these videos, but I would go back to Thailand. I would make my money in America. And all over the world actually, and then I would go to Thailand because it's cheap to live, and I liked it there. All my friends were there.
Right.
So yeah, I remember I went back to Thailand. This is when I knew I had a problem, because I went back to Thailand and everyone there saw me, and they're like, "Dude, what happened to you?" I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Dude, you look tiny." I was like, "What do you mean?" It's like, how much you weigh? I didn't even realize. I stepped on the scales. I was 70 kilograms. So I'd lost pretty much 18 kilograms.
70 kilograms. That's about 160. Maybe less.
No, that's 155.
155.
I was 100. Yeah, so right now I'm 195 pounds. So I was 150. Imagine me at 155
40 pounds less than what you have on you now. Go ahead and flex for the camera over there. Flex for that camera. Look at the camera. Flex. Put it up. Flex it. Yeah. Yeah. Those muscles, they weren't there.
They disappeared. Disappeared. Yeah, so that was just everyone. The way everyone was looking at me is like, oh, kind of
like the big eyes, right? They're like,
they were like shocked. They're like, and I remember Roger Huerta, a friend of mine. He actually said to me like a few days later, he goes, "Dude, is everything okay?" Roger. He was the only person there to actually really like look at me properly and say, "Dude, are you okay?"
So this is Roger Huerta. Everyone knows who Roger Huerta is.
UFC legend.
He's the Matador.
The Matador.
Yeah. The UFC fighter, Roger Huerta. Yeah. He was kind of the guy who built Tiger Road.
Yeah. Right? He built the MMA program at Tiger Muay Thai, and because of him, Tiger Muay Thai's MMA program really took off. You know, and became the place it is now. It's like a world famous training camp now, and it was him. And the management at the time, there was the people manager at the time was a guy called Will Elliott, who's actually in Vancouver with me right now. There was Brian Ebersol as a coach and Roger Huerta as a coach, and it just kind of.
So Roger gave you that real look, like, yo, bro.
Yeah, I was around at his house one night.
We got to talk about this.
Yeah, he just turned off the TV and just looked at me and just gave me that look, like, and I just denied it all. I was like, he's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" And he goes, "You don't look good, man." Like, is that like? I was like, "No, I'm fine." And
wow.
And that kind of, you know, definitely made me think. You know, like, oh, okay, people are like, there's something wrong here. I remember going in the gym.
You were playing it cool to everyone's face, but inside you were thinking to yourself, like, oh, shit.
Yes. And I remember I love lifting weights. I've always been lifting weights. I would warm up in 40 kilograms and, you know, go up to like benching 100 kilograms.
Right.
I remember going in the gym. I hadn't lifted or trained jiu-jitsu for that long. I went in to the gym and my arms were shaking on 220s. I could barely lift them. I went on the pull-up bar. I couldn't do one pull-up. I went on the dip bar. I could do like 2 dips. My arms were shaking.
Wow.
And I remember rolling jiu-jitsu for the first time in a while, and people that I used to basically not have a hard time.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I actually smash.
Yeah.
Completely just fucked me up. Like, just run me over. I was like, okay, like, I've got a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, after that, I ended up finally admitting to myself, I got a problem here. I called up my mum back in England and said, "Hey, mum, I got to come home." And she's like, "Why?" I was like, "I got a problem." And she's like, what? And I'm like, I am addicted to pills. And she's like, what are you talking about? She was shocked. And I explained to her, and she said, right, come back immediately. So I went back to England, and I went through probably 6 months of withdrawals. And
You quit cold turkey?
no, I tapered down.
Tapered
down. But I relapsed.
But you didn't go into a clinic or anything. You
No.
tried to do this
My
on your
mum,
own.
myself, we didn't understand. We didn't know about opiate addiction
Right.
or the epidemic. We didn't really understand it. I went back with the intent. Really wanted to get off him, and I did. I actually got pretty much almost off them, and then I left too quick. I only spent a short time in England, maybe a couple months to detox, and then as soon as I left, the hard thing about addiction is the withdrawals are so bad but even once you've finished taking them, the cravings are there for a long time. Like, I think this is why a lot of people relapse, because the cravings. You might get off them and be clean, but all you can think about is taking, because you don't feel normal, for a long time. I think it's called homeostasis. It takes a long time for your brain chemistry to rebalance.
Right.
And for you to not have that craving. So I was in England for a couple of months, and then I left thinking in my own head, yep, I'm good now.
So you tapered down.
Tapered down,
but probably even though you say taper, like it's like a slow process of decreasing your doses, but at the same time, your brain is not recovering at the pace that you're reducing the drug intake.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Like you said, it probably takes a year for your brain to balance itself out.
I read online it can take up to a couple years for your brain to basically feel normal again.
And how quickly did you taper from like what you were taking down to zero?
Way too fast. I didn't do it properly.
A couple months?
Couple months.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I was just so excited to get back out and travel again, get back making my videos.
Right.
So I went back out to America, and I can't remember what job I was doing at this time. I went out to Oregon, and basically, boom, right back on them again.
Really? Because you got onto a flight, right? Like, I need to sleep on this flight.
Yeah. I mean, just the cravings. Like, I was off them. Then I remember I got a hold of some, and that's it. I felt normal again. I felt like happy again. I was like, fuck.
And you hadn't felt happy in a while, I bet, right?
No, I felt you feel very depressed. You feel very tired, very anxious, just miserable. And the only way for you to feel normal again, is like I said, is by taking
back on it.
So then, yeah.
What year is this?
I think this is 2015.
Okay.
Yeah. So I bet, to be honest, there's a lot of years I don't really remember very well.
Right. I'm sure it's a bit of a blur.
A bit of a blur.
Okay.
So just think I was on top of the world, like I was
living the dream, bro.
I was living the dream. I was like, basically the world's in my hands. I was making these videos. I'm training jiu-jitsu.
Everybody wants a Stuart Cooper video.
And life was great. And then it came crashing all the way fucking down. Like it got as low as it can possibly get, So then...
So you were back in the States. You're making a video.
And
you relapsed.
And then I think I ended up going back out to Thailand again. And then I can't remember what year it was. I think it was 2016. I filmed the Tiger Muay Thai tryout. I went back to Thailand to film the Tiger Muay Thai tryouts. The 2015, I think, Tiger Muay Thai tryouts. And after those,
their pro fight team.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And I was living with Alex Shield at the time, and I don't think he didn't really know what I was going through. I don't think anyone did. I think Emilio. Shout out to Emilio Yorudia. A good friend of mine.
I know Emilio. He's a brown belt under fight sports.
Enrico Coco.
Yes. Yeah, shout out Enrico Coco.
Really good dude. I moved out of Alex's house, and then I moved next door to an apartment next to Emilo. And he noticed there was a problem. He was checking on me all the time. And yeah, he was like, I remember him having a word with me very similar to, the way Roger, yeah. And then after the tryout video, I was like, right, this is it. If I carry this on, I'm not going to be here for very long, because sometimes I'd fall asleep, I'd pass out, and I'd wake up like 14 hours later.
14 hours
maybe
later?
Maybe longer. So honestly, sometimes it might have been 18 hours.
You don't even know what day it is.
Just passed out.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just not training hard, it was, like I said, really affecting my personality. I was not the same person. So I went back to England again. I was like, Mom, Dad, like, that's it. We have to. This is a problem.
You went back home, told them what happened. Like you're like,
yeah,
oh,
I've relapsed again. So this time we did our research online. We found a doctor that kind of. This is the fucked up thing about England. There's no. If you are a heroin addict, you can go into a clinic and they will give you diazepam to taper off.
Right.
And help the withdrawals of heroin. If you're an alcoholic, they'll give you diazepam to help the withdrawals of alcohol. But if you are addicted to diazepam and you've self-medicated, they won't help you.
They don't have anything to give you or what?
They just don't know. They just won't help you. It's weird.
That is weird.
And you can't just stop.
They send you home or what? What do they do?
Send you home. Yeah.
They say, sorry, bro.
Yeah. It's a weird thing in the law. And you can't just stop taking diazepam. You have to taper off it slowly. Yeah. If you just stop, and this is what happened to me, there's a good chance of death, like seizures. So
Your brain is just going nuts.
So I went back to England and I barely had any of these pills on me, thinking that, I could get some from the doctor. I went in to speak to the doctor, told him everything. Sorry, can't help you. It's like, sorry, what?
Like, no, bro, you're a doctor. You took an oath to help people. Help me.
It's against it's against the law for them to actually prescribe you diazepam if you've self-medicated. So they sent me down to this place called Inspire, which is kind of like a rehab place. And they said, look, go and talk to them. They may be able to help you. Went to speak to them, and they're like, oh, sorry, we can't help you.
What the fuck?
They said, if you're an alcoholic, we can give you diazepam. If you're a heroin addict, we can give you diazepam. But if you are addicted to diazepam, we can't.
Nothing. There's just nothing.
No help. No.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a real lack of help.
They don't know what to do. Is that what it is? Like they just don't know?
Yeah, it's just not. They don't even address the problem really.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's fucked up. So I
wonder if they deal with it differently here in the States.
Maybe.
You ever read anything about that? Or
not really. No.
Man, that's perplexing.
So
then what'd you do?
Then I actually
Are you like super frustrated at this point?
Very frustrated. And
I'm about to die, guys. So I need some help. I'm coming to you for help. Yeah. And no one has no help for you.
So I ran out. I didn't have any diazepams, and my body literally starts going into withdrawals. So I go back into the doctor, and I'm shaking, I'm sweating, I can barely talk, I'm scared.
Right.
And I tell him, look, like I'm literally going through withdrawals now. I'm afraid I'm about to have a seizure. I actually need some help here. We need to taper off these things. And she wouldn't help me. She's like, sorry, I can't help you. I went back home, told my mom and dad, like I said, I could barely speak. My mom and dad went out for a short while. I think they were walking the dog. So they came back. They find me unconscious on the floor.
Really?
Yeah, like actually I had a seizure.
You have no recollection of this, right?
No.
They just
they
told you.
That was scary. Like 1 minute you're there, and the next thing you know, I just wake up and I had no idea how the fuck I got there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So then we found a doctor. I actually ended up going in hospital, and they actually gave me some diazepam.
They gave you some?
Otherwise, I would have died.
Right.
I may have actually died. Okay. So they gave me some diazepam, and then they released me from hospital, but didn't actually give me any to taper down. So
they just gave you a little dose to keep you alive.
Yeah, just in hospital. That was it. So we left the hospital, and then we actually found a doctor that helped me. And he wasn't supposed to. He says, look, I'm not supposed to be doing this, but I'm going to help you. But I'm not allowed. I'm not supposed to be.
Well, fuck, you found a real doctor.
Yeah.
You found a doctor who lived up to his oath.
Dr. DeRuseman.
Shout out Dr. DeRuseman. Thank you for saving Stu's life.
Yeah, man. If it wasn't for him, I'm not sure what would have happened. So he wrote me a plan of how to get off both, because I was mixing diazepam with tramadol. So basically it took me a year to slowly taper down off both drugs. And it was the most miserable, like the hardest 12 months of my life.
You were probably always craving more, right?
You can barely speak, because diazepam is an anti-anxiety and helps you sleep. So when you stop taking these things, or you taper down dramatically, what's going to happen? You don't sleep. You have major anxiety. I can't even begin to explain. It's actually harder to come off diazepam than it is opiates. The benzodiazepam withdrawals are much more severe.
Okay.
I was going through two types of withdrawals at once.
For both drugs.
Yeah, so
Were you just having crazy sleepless nights?
I would be lucky if I slept. Sometimes I would go 3 nights without sleeping and then just pass out sometimes. Like, your body has a way of catching up.
Right.
Sometimes I just wake up like, all right, I must have slept.
Right.
You know, and your body has to sleep.
And you're kind of thankful for it, right? Like,
yeah.
You wake up and you're like, oh God, thanks, I slept.
Yeah, but I was so determined to get my life back, you know, because I had a good life.
Right.
I had a really good life, and I was like, right, that was my motivation, was to get back what I had. So one of the things I was doing, I was going for long walks, you know, listening to nice music, watching positive films, training a lot of jiu-jitsu. I didn't want to train jiu-jitsu. I didn't want to go on walks, but I made myself. I mean, what else am I going to do? Sit in, lie in bed and just, you know, feel sorry for myself.
Right.
So I just try and keep,
about it.
Yeah, that's the worst. The worst time was when I was in bed, you know, at night. That's when you could feel the withdrawals. You could feel the discomfort in your body. But if I was out walking or was doing something, rolling jiu-jitsu, that's in the moment, you know, I was in that flow state. That's when I wouldn't notice the withdrawals. So I was trying to keep as busy as possible. And I can't even begin to explain how tired I was there.
Exhausted.
Exhausted. I just wanted to sit down and lie down all the time. It was horrible. So,
lethargic. You felt.
like pretty much like chronic fatigue syndrome. You know, that's what a lot of people go through when they come off drugs. They go through that, and it takes a long time for your brain chemistry to rebalance. So after a year, I managed to get off. You know, and it was December 4th.
Would you say that was the most miserable year of your life?
Most miserable year of my life, but the most important year of my life, because I had a lot of time to think and about everything, you know, all the fallouts I had, you know, everything I was doing wrong, where I'm going in the future. You know, it was a very important year. December 4th, 2016 was the last time I ever took one of those pills.
December 4th, 2014,
2016,
16. Yeah.
So, and I was clean off taking it. I got a job offer in Singapore, and all I could think, I still wasn't right. I was still suffering with this craving and this fatigue, you know, just no motivation. Because I think these things, like my brain wasn't producing serotonin or dopamine, because that's what these drugs are doing. They're giving you, you know, like they're giving
you a boost.
They're giving you a boost.
Chemicals.
So when you stop taking it, your brain isn't producing it. So that's why you have depression. That's why you're like just no motivation. You're just not happy. That's why you're depressed.
Like your brain was like, it was like if you squeeze a sponge, all the water out, it's like that's your brain and serotonin, right? You basically squeezed all the happiness out of your brain.
Yep.
And now you're left with an empty, dry, sad brain.
Yeah, and that whole year I didn't put any videos together because I couldn't concentrate.
So we call these in the jiu-jitsu world, we call these the dark years. These are the years.
These were the dark years.
These were the years when Stuart Cooper had vanished and no one knew what had happened. And
I wasn't online.
I was wondering myself. I was like, man, where's Stuart Cooper? Like, what has he been doing? Like, he hasn't put anything out. He's been MIA. Like all of us. I would talk to people too. I'd be like, man, have you seen this? Has Stuart Cooper made any videos recently? Like, where's he been? What's he up to?
I mean, I didn't speak to anyone in Thailand either. People were reaching out to me, but I didn't. Basically, I had to shut myself off. I was concentrating.
So Alex would message me, and he'd be like, I don't know where Stu is. Like he vanished. He didn't tell anyone he vanished. And he was kind of like angry. Right. You know what I mean? Like he was just like, bro, he's like, Stu had just vanished. I don't know where he is. He didn't tell anyone anything. You know, little did we know you're fighting for your life. You know?
Yep. Yeah. So I had a job offer in Singapore to teach jiu-jitsu and, you know, make videos for Evolve MMA, but I was still going through this fatigue and these cravings, and all I could think was, and they wanted me to go out there in January, and I'm still not right. And from what I'm reading online and talking to the doctor, it's going to be a few years before I feel myself again. So
December 4th, you had your last dose.
Yeah, 2016.
Okay, and then January 2017 is when you're thinking of going to Singapore.
Yes, yeah, they offered me the job.
So you're still fresh off the...
And I was going to go.
Right.
I was about to go. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go. But in my head, I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to...
Recipe for a relapse.
I was going to bypass Thailand and pick up some some pills. So then the best thing is a blessing in disguise. My appendix go.
No shit.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That stopped me. I had to cancel my flight because my appendix they went gangrenous.
Bro, I got the same thing going on.
I got my scar here as well. So it turns out I was like, man, what the fuck? I've just gone through 1 year of withdrawals and now my fucking appendix go. What is life throwing at me right now?
Right.
You know, I got a blessing in disguise because I went into hospital, they did the surgery, and, you know, obviously they give you pain medication.
Right.
They give me a dose of morphine. Boom, I feel great. I feel normal. I feel happy. I'm like, shit. Like, this is a big problem. I cannot go out to Singapore.
And you didn't tell them? You didn't tell the doctors, like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm recovering?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, because they wanted to give me tramadol. They wanted to give me tramadol to take home with me for the pain. I was like, no, you can't do that. So they actually gave me some codeines, but, you know, I was my mom was monitoring them, you know, what I was taking. She had control of them.
Good.
So I'm basically in bed for 3 weeks, unable to move because they actually, you know, there's a hole, you know, they cut the surgery in the stomach, so you can't even walk for quite a couple of weeks.
Right. Been there.
And this gave me a lot of time, even more time to think, right, this is, you know, you really need to think about what we're going to do here. And just I'd heard about ayahuasca from podcasts like Joe Rogan, you know, Aubrey Marcus being on there, but I just thought it was like a psychedelic, something you do for an experience or just some kind of, I didn't really know what it was for. And I was just reading an article on how ayahuasca is good for addiction.
This is right after your surgery? You're
yeah,
like chilling,
right after the surgery.
at home?
I'm just on the laptop, just, you know,
browsing,
you know.
web surfing.
And then, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
You were reading about ayahuasca.
Yeah, so I read that it's good for addiction and it's a cure for a lot of things. It can even help people with, you know, with cancer, a lot of different illnesses, chronic fatigue syndrome and addiction. So that's what I had. I had like this fatigue and had these horrible cravings. So as soon as I was able to walk, I started researching where I could do this ayahuasca. You know, I was like, fuck it, I have to do something.
Yeah, right.
So I found a place in Denmark and I emailed them, and it was just by chance. I think this was January, February, March
2017.
March 2017. I sent an email saying, hey, like, you know, I really want to, I see you have a ceremony coming up. It's called the Spirit of Aya. And this is on an island off Copenhagen called Fimu. And I said, do you have any, is it possible, to join? I really need to, I really want to do this ayahuasca. I think it might help me. And I explained the problem. And they said, hey, you're in luck. We just had someone drop out today. And you emailed at the right time. The ceremony is in 2 weeks' time. So I'm like, right, I'm in. And I didn't really know where I was going, you know.
Right.
I was like, man, maybe I'm going to turn up to this thing and it's like a cult and I'm going to be a sacrificial lamb or something. Then all they said was,
like our old sacrifice bailed, so you're right on time.
Yeah. So when I was there, I was very wary. Because I don't know these people.
Right. Of
so
course. Yeah.
And this is all off record, you know. They're not really advertising this all over the place.
How did you find it? Just on a blog or what?
I even can't remember. I think I was just browsing through. I think I bumped into a Facebook page. You know, I was researching
just completely random.
After I read that it was a cure for a lot of things, I just started researching all over the place and just came across it. And they say that you have a calling when you're the ayahuasca has like a calling for you when it's time for you to do it. It actually reaches out to you. I mean, I don't really believe in that bullshit, but it kind of, I don't know, it's weird how everything fell into place.
I may not believe, but I also don't not believe.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, even me still. So I ended up, they said, right, follow the diet, do the ayahuasca diet, which is no meat, no dairy, no caffeine, pretty much like, you know.
Veganish.
Yeah. Brown rice. I basically ate brown rice and broccoli and tuna, you know, for like 2 weeks. And that was difficult in itself.
Right.
You know. And I took, like, everyone kept asking me, why are you not, not eating, you know.
And you don't really want to tell them, huh?
Yeah, I'm getting good food cooked for me and I'm not eating it, you know.
And you don't want to, did you want to tell them or no?
No, because I knew, like, especially my parents, I knew if I told them what I was about to do, they'd stop me.
Right.
Because they wouldn't understand. They're like, you're just going to do another drug.
Right.
You know. So I remember after 2 weeks, I booked my flight and I tell my mum and dad I'm going to London for a weekend to do some filming. I was like, okay. And they saw what it was like. They saw I was struggling. They saw I wasn't myself anymore. I ended up getting in a train to Manchester, and that was difficult itself. Just getting to the airport was tiring. It was tiresome. I slept in the airport, and I got the 6 a.m. flight over to Copenhagen, and got off there, and then I jumped in a car with 3 other people I'd never met. One of them was a shaman picking us up. I was there, and 2 other guys from Denmark. Actually, they were both Danish. They were there for their own reasons, whatever that was. So the shaman picked up 3 of us. And then we drove 3 hours.
They picked you up at the airport.
Picked us up at the airport.
That's cool.
And then we drove 3 hours to a ferry point, and we jump in this ferry, and I think it's a 1 or 2 hour boat ride to this island called Fimu, and there's only 100 people that live in this island. There's no police there. It's just like this, really beautiful island, really cold. And I think that's why they do the ceremonies there, so they can't get interrupted by the police, by the authorities. So there was 18 people there doing the ceremonies. It was a 2-day ceremony. And we arrived there, you sit round in a circle, and you don't have to say why you're there, but you have a choice. Right. So we all sit round, introduce yourself, say why you're there. People are there for all kinds of different reasons. People from all walks of life. You've got me there for my reasons. You got some, a real mix of people. You got your typical hippies there, just wanting to, just curious about what it's all about. And we fasted for 12 hours, and then that night we did our first dose of ayahuasca. And I was very nervous. I didn't know what was about to happen, but I was in the perfect state of mind because I was at the point I didn't care what was going to happen.
Right. Anything would be better.
And I was like, right, what have I got to lose?
Right.
Because life is shit right now.
Do I recall you telling me that fast was like very difficult for you?
It was very difficult. By the time it got to the ceremony, I didn't want to do it. I just wanted to go for a pizza.
Yeah, like I remember you telling me, we had this conversation in Thailand last year, and you were telling me that you were like literally about to leave because you're like, I'm going to die from not fasting because you haven't been eating shit for 2 weeks.
So hungry.
Okay.
Then I was the first one. They called me up first, like, Stuart, do you want to go first? I'm like, okay. So I went up. They give you this wooden cup. They've got like tobacco smoke everywhere. There's actually 3 shaman and a shaman apprentice there. I think it's called, I can't remember what it's called, but they've got a lot of different like incense and, things burning. They clear out the room. And we actually did like 1 hour of meditation before, just to get you grounded before you go in. And I took the glass and went back to my yoga mat, just sat there, and everyone else, went up, got their glass, and then actually...
So you didn't drink the glass yet?
No, yeah. I went up to the front and I just drank. Okay. I just downed it. I just put it back right away.
You put it down and then you go sit down?
I go and sit down, yeah.
Okay.
And it's foul. It's like...
What it tastes like?
Oof, it's hard to describe what it tastes like, but it's horrible.
Okay.
It's really horrible.
Understood.
It gets, like I said before, it gets worse every time you do it. It was horrible, but the first time I tried it, it wasn't that bad. I didn't think, what's the big deal?
But then again, you were like in a state where like, I need to do something.
Yeah. Well, I was actually really hungry. So I was like, I need something in my body. So after about 20 minutes, that hunger disappeared. And I really started to feel the effects. Like 30 minutes in, I was like, oh, here we go.
Were all the other people in by now?
Yeah, everyone else is in. And people are already making noises. Like it's kicking in with other people in the room already. You know? Sometimes it takes like 40 minutes to an hour. But this was some strong stuff. I went back to my yoga mat. I was lying there. After 40 minutes, then I closed my eyes and I started to see a lot of snake shapes, a lot of colorful patterns. And the first night was more of an experiment to see how your body handles it. They give you 1 cup, just to see how you react to the medicine. And the first night it was nice. It was a nice experience. But when I opened my eyes, this was, this room was all still, the room was still there,
So you just had like a little hallucination?
Yeah, it was not. It was like it was strong, but it was.
You knew where
I felt
you were.
really like overwhelmed of happiness and, a lot of colorful patterns and.
You're just you're inside a tent.
No, we're actually we're in like a lodge.
A lodge.
Yeah, we're in this big like a hall.
Okay.
Like it was almost like a sports hall, but they've like decorated it. With.
Okay.
These psychedelic paintings everywhere.
And you're just kind of sitting down, tripping out.
Yeah,
on the walls.
Then it's a complete detox. So most time people throw up, but for me, I was in the toilet. I was in the toilet for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everything's just coming out.
Your body's expelling all the crap.
Yeah. So after the first night, I woke up the next morning and we sat around in a circle. We spoke about our, experience, and it was the next one. So we went in the next night, and we had this time, because I reacted well to the medicine, they gave me 2 cups.
Did you have to fast again all day?
Yeah, you have a little bit of breakfast in the morning.
Okay.
Not much, and then you fast again. So the second night, this time I go deeper. They said, right, Stuart, tonight we want you to have two cups. And wow, 2 hours in, I am gone.
Just another level.
Another level. I remember like opening up my eyes and the whole room is in geometric patterns. Like you can't even put into words. It's like, I think Dan Hardy said this. It's like we don't have the language to explain to people what actually happens.
I've heard this many times.
Yeah, people tell you, oh, it's like a computer game. No, it's like, it's something you have to do to really, it's like it gives you a lens to see another world that's always here. But we can't see it with our 5 senses right now. But when you drink this medicine or smoke DMT, you're like plugged into this different frequency and you see another world that's there.
And it's always been there.
Yeah. And it's so real. It's not like you're imagining, it's so real. And 2 hours in, she comes up to me. I remember opening up my eyes and everything's in geometric pattern. She walks up and she's like, Stuart, how are you? I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Like, I'm great. And she's like, do you want to go deeper? I'm like, I know, I'm pretty deep. And she's like, I think you should go deeper. I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. And she gives me another cup.
Oh my God.
Then, oh my God, I'm gone. I'm in a different dimension of like overwhelming. I was crying with happiness, with joy. I was just thinking about all the good things in my life, all the people that meant something to me. I was thinking on every time I was thinking of my family, my friends. I was just overwhelmed with love. It's just so overwhelming. It was the most incredible experience of my life. And from what I understand, ayahuasca rebalances the brain chemistry.
Yeah.
So it like rebalances the serotonin receptors in your brain. I think, I don't really know the science in it, but I woke up the next day and I felt fucking great. I felt amazing.
So how long were you having the experience for?
6 hours.
Solid hours.
It's usually 3 to 4 hours, because I had a third cup 2 hours in. It ended up being 6 hours. And I was in this other world for quite a long time.
And you're just sitting on the yoga mat and just...
Yeah, you actually going in, you have to write an intention down. They say you can write it on a piece of paper, but you have to go in intentions. Why are you doing this?
Right.
And my reasons were, please, I want to get rid of these cravings. I want my life back, and I want to have my energy back again. I want rid of this chronic fatigue that I'm going through. I just want to be myself again. I want my life back. And I don't know what the science is in all this stuff, but it fucking worked,
So you woke up the next morning?
I felt happy. I felt the happiest I've felt in a long time. I felt myself again.
So you're sitting on the yoga mat, you're tripping out, you're having these experiences, and then do you fall asleep?
You're not asleep. You're just, you're awake, but I don't know. You're definitely not asleep. You're just in another place.
Okay. So, but when you say you wake up the next morning,
sorry. After the after it's over.
Uh-huh.
So like I was in this state for 6 hours. As soon as it wears off, and it's nice because you don't want to leave. When you're in it, you're like, I don't want to go. I want to stay in this dimension forever.
Right.
But then it eases you out gently, and then afterwards you're really hungry. So you actually go in the other room, and everyone else is there. Some people are still in it.
Right.
They're still gone, but most of the people are now eating, so it's all vegan food. Really nice, actually. They had like spicy pumpkin soup there, like some vegan bread, like really good food. And you were hungry.
Yeah.
That food tasted so good. It was like the best food ever. And you sit around and everyone's so happy, and everyone's like
making me hungry, Stu.
Everyone's like hugging each other, because it definitely helped a lot of people that weekend. And then after that, so I went to bed. I went back to my room at like probably 5 a.m. in the morning, and then slept till probably like 9 or 10, and then woke up, and then you go back in the room and you sit around in a circle and talk about your experience.
I remember you telling me during the experience that people were having vastly different experiences, like physically observable different experiences.
Mine was overwhelmingly amazing, positive. There wasn't because ayahuasca you never know what it's going to do. There's other people in that room screaming, crying, you know, in physical pain. Like there was a girl in the far corner, just like obviously going through some trauma.
Yeah.
The guy to my left, like he was sat up on his yoga mat, like hissing like a snake.
Seriously.
Yeah, like making these snake noises. Another guy in the corner room, like making jaguar noises.
Really?
Yeah, everyone's going through something different.
I got a question for you. Well, I have a friend who was an assistant to a shaman. All right. She would help a shaman through these kinds of experiences. And she's done ayahuasca also. And she told me that she knows her spirit animal. And it's a dragon. And she can describe it in great detail. Black, gold, shiny gold, like things like scales. And like she can describe it just like vividly. And like, I don't know. Do you think people are like having connections with animal spirit, or like, you think that's what they're saying? Like this is their spirit animal?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have that, but for sure. I mean, I know,
one guy's a cobra, one guy's a jaguar.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to one of the podcasts with Dan Hardy, I think it was on the Joe Rogan, he had his ayahuasca experience. He like had a connection with a wolf.
Really?
That was like his spirit animal. And then after that, he went back home and he finds out he has wolf heart disease.
What?
Yeah, he writes about it in his book.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a trip.
Crazy, right?
So you had no animals?
I saw a lot of snakes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Snake patterns. A lot of people see that. They say that the mother ayahuasca, which is an entity, whatever she is, if she's God or she's some higher power, she takes the form of a snake.
Really?
So if you go on Google, type in ayahuasca images, and you can see a lot of like different snake patterns on there.
Okay.
You know, different artwork, and
so
it's quite a.
So the next morning, you guys are all sitting around together and you're talking about your experiences.
Yeah.
And did anyone have anything interesting?
Actually, the first night, one girl, actually 2 people on the first night, they left that day. They had such powerful experiences, and I know that
just with that one cup.
Just that one cup. They didn't want to do it again. They were scared. They were frightened.
Really?
I know that one of the women, she had lost a son, or something like
she
that.
Was grieving.
And that was it. Yeah, she didn't want to do it again.
Do you think
Not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But she got what she wanted.
It's
like ayahuasca gives you what you need, or helps you get to where it is you need to be.
Okay.
Yeah, but
did anyone like were there stories like kind of like, I don't know, did anyone give it an interesting testimony that stood out to you?
I mean,
is it just like what's it like? You guys are just talking about your experiences and like everyone's just kind of like tripping out on it, or are you guys all trying to relate to it, or are they all?
Yeah, everyone definitely has like different, different experiences there, but there was a lot of different stories. You know, I just can't really remember, what other people were saying, what their stories were, but yeah.
Did you told them about your experience?
Yeah, yeah.
Is there feedback? Do you guys like talking about it, or?
I just kind of explained what I felt, how I was just overwhelmed with, just love, and just pure joy, and how I've not felt this happy and felt this good energy for a long
Years,
time.
right?
And I did not have any cravings. That's one of the things they asked me. So do you have any cravings today? I'm like, no, like zero. And
you were having them every day?
Oh, all day. I was having dreams. I would go to sleep and I would have dreams of going in a pharmacy, and picking up drugs. That's how bad the cravings are.
And so you had a complete reset.
And completely like had no cravings and like good energy, felt great. And then I go to the airport, fly back to England, and my mom and dad, I go back home to mom and dad, and they see me smiling. They see me like doing things, and they're like, hey, what happened this weekend? I'm like, oh, no, nothing. Like, you seem happy. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, what happened to you this weekend? Like, they were kind of suspicious.
Of
like,
course.
Right, what's going on here? I was like, I've just been doing meditation and yoga, and
do you think they thought you relapsed?
That definitely went through.
Like they're like, wait a second, Stuart's happy again. What have you been taking?
Yeah, but they could tell I wasn't.
It was different.
It was different, yeah. Right. And I couldn't tell them because I knew they'd probably freak out. So the first thing I did was sign up to a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I hadn't competed in a long time, and I fought an English a gentleman called Ashley Amos. He's quite a big up and comer now. And I didn't compete for so long, obviously because of the circumstances. I would have got smashed by everyone. But I spent the whole year going through a detox, but getting my health back. I was lifting weights again. I was strong. I was training a lot, and just from that experience, I had the motivation to get back out there, get back in the world. So I signed up to this no time limit submission only tournament, an 8-man bracket. The winner gets £2,500. My first match is against Ashley Amos, who's 115 kilogram beast.
Okay.
I took him lightly, but the match starts and we are going at it for 45 minutes.
Oh my God.
45 minutes. But my mind, after what I went through that whole year, I didn't care how long that match went, how uncomfortable I got, how thirsty, how tired I got. All I was thinking was, this guy has not been through what I've just been through.
Right.
I don't care how long this guy, I'll be here all day until he gives up. And eventually I got his back, and I almost got him a twist, but I switched to the banana split and submitted him.
You finished him with a banana split?
Yeah, I finished him with a banana split. That match is actually, you can see it on YouTube. It's quite boring because it's just me passing his guard, mounting him pushing me off, me passing his guard, mounting him and pushing me off.
He just bench press you every time.
I couldn't submit him. The only thing I was going for was an arm triangle.
It was no-gi.
It was no-gi, yeah. And my game was I was a one-trick pony at that time. I was just like an pressure passer with an arm triangle. That's it. I've changed my game since then. That was the first time I did submission only. So that tournament made me realize, okay, if you want to do submission only, you've got to open up more. If you get the mount and you're not getting the submission, fuck it. Hop off into guard. You've got to fall back for the legs, all that. So, yeah, that was, the beginning of a fresh start for me. Yeah. And then I emailed my Evolve MMA in Singapore and say, hey, I'm ready to come out. I'm good. Went out to Singapore, and everything's been great. Everything's been amazing since then. I went out to Singapore. I met my girlfriend there, who I'm still with today.
What's her name?
Rena.
Shout out to Rena.
We've been together for 2 years now.
Where's she at right now?
She's in Singapore, but she's going to join me in Vancouver soon.
Cool.
And it's funny how we met. We actually met on Tinder.
Yeah.
But she didn't have any, there was no pictures of her.
Uh-huh.
I was browsing through Tinder to swipe, and I come across this profile, and it's pictures of Peru. And there's a few side photos of it. You really can't see what she looks like.
Yeah.
And I liked it just because there was pictures of Peru.
Right.
Because that's where ayahuasca comes from. I'd literally just had my experience.
And then true? Ayahuasca comes from Peru.
It comes from Peru, the Amazon. Oh. It's a brew made from... So there's over 150,000 species of plants in the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah.
Somehow, thousands of years ago, they worked out how to take the leaf of one plant and the vine of another plant out of 150,000 species. And when you put them together and brew it over a period of a few hours, you get this psychedelic medicine that blasts you into another...
That's the ayahuasca combo.
That's ayahuasca, yeah. And they say the jungle told them how to do it.
Oh.
This is a medicine that's been around thousands of years and is illegal. So think about it. I had to break the law and do something illegal to get my life back.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
It is fucked up. Yeah. And modern medicine refused to help you when you needed help.
Yep. It was modern medicine that got me in the shit.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, going back to...
modern medicine created a problem for you.
Yep.
And then modern medicine refused to help you get out of your problem. And then you had to break the law and take an illegal drug to solve your problem.
Yep.
And get your life back.
And get my life back.
Wow, that's so backwards.
And I've never been happier since.
That's so fucking backwards.
It's crazy. And this is still illegal all over. There's a lot of alternative medicines out there that can really help people. And they're making it illegal. It's...
This is pharmacy, bro.
It's big pharma.
Big pharma. Hey, you know what? And I don't know. Never mind. Fuck big pharma.
I could have gone into rehab, but rehab is £16,000 for a month. And it has a 95% relapse rate from what I've researched. Or there's actually another drug. I was very close to doing this one. There's something called Ibogaine. And you can go and do Ibogaine for I think it costs like $700, maybe $1,000, and it's a very strong psychedelic, but it's amazing for addiction, especially opiate addiction. You can do, there's a place in Canada, but mainly Mexico, Costa Rica, and you can go in a heroin addict, take this Ibogaine, go through a 36-hour brutal psychedelic trip, and come out the other end healed, completely cured. Because what this does, it resets the opiate receptors in your brain, and it has a 95% success rate. And this is something people don't really know about. And guess what? It's illegal. But how
it's a pill?
It's a root. They give it you in capsules, and it's it's the root of a tree from South Africa. It's completely different to ayahuasca. They say ayahuasca is the mother spirit,
right?
But Ibogaine is the stern older brother, like father spirit, telling you exactly like what the fuck is wrong with you. You know? Whereas ayahuasca can be very gentle, you know, and
more motherly,
and kind of more motherly, and tell you what's going on in your life in almost in riddles, you know, But apparently,
Ibogaine's more like the disciplinary father.
Yeah, apparently with Ibogaine, you should write down 10 questions that you want out of it, and apparently it answers them very clear, crystal clear. But before you do Ibogaine, you have to do an ECG and a liver panel blood test, because there's a lot of pressure on the heart, and there is risks with that.
Yeah.
But this is if there's opiate addicts out there, I mean, I would never say just go and do ayahuasca. It's going to change your life. Go and do Ibogaine. You've got to do your research. It's not for everybody.
Right.
But these things, even mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms, these are being used, to treat addiction as well. One thing I will say, you cannot do ayahuasca if you are still taking. If you're on antidepressants or any other drug and you take ayahuasca, you can have serotonin syndrome and you'll die. It can kill you. So you have to be completely clean. If you're going to do one of these psychedelics.
That's why they insist on the ayahuasca diet and
yes.
And the
you have to be completely clean for a month, month minimum. But from what I understand, the Ibogaine, you can actually be a heroin addict. Go in, I think you have to have your last dose maybe 24 hours before, but you go in, you take it, and then I think it pretty much paralyzes you for 36 hours. You're in it for a long time. It's a lot of stress on the heart. Right. But you come out the other end and you're, brand new.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so these things are out there, but this is the good thing about the internet and podcasts. You're able to find out information that you would never have come across any other way.
Independent information.
Yeah, growing up, I think of our parents. They grew up with 4 channels, so whatever they watch on TV, that's all the information they're getting. They're not really getting any other information on anything. So. This is the good thing. One of the good things about the internet. There's good and bad about the internet, but you're able to really do your own research and find out the truth about things. So,
wow. You ended up doing another ayahuasca experience, right?
The following week. Yeah. So I rushed into it. I didn't need to. That was a lesson in itself.
Right.
So I wanted to go deep. I wanted to find out more.
You were just you were super curious,
but this was super curious. So I went out to Spain, and before we did the ayahuasca experience, we did Cambo. Cambo is a frog poison. Mm-hmm. And you can actually see the marks on my shoulder here.
Oh, they poke you.
Yeah, they get a match and they burn. For me, they gave me 8. Everyone else had 2 dabs. I had 8 for whatever reason.
They were like, you're jacked. We need to
give you extra. They're right, we're giving you
you're a big boy.
4 times as much. So they get a match, they burn your skin, and then they put the frog poison on the burn mark, and it hits you instantly.
Really?
And the first minute you feel great. You're like, oh wow. And then
isn't it a trip? That's a trip though, huh? How can it hit you instantly? Right? Your shoulder's down here, your brain is up there. How quickly can it travel through your blood?
Oh, crazy. Yeah.
And get to your brain.
You feel it pretty much in seconds.
That's weird. I don't understand how that happens.
Your head swells up like almost like a frog. Your face goes bright red and you start throwing up violently.
Oh, really?
Then after you take it, you have to take 8 liters of water. Obviously, you can't hold 8 liters of water in you, but you're throwing up. You're drinking. You have to get the poison back out, from what I understand. So I was sat there drinking 8 liters of water.
And just vomiting it back
and
up.
I did this 2 days in a row. I did 2 Cambo ceremonies. And that's rough. But you feel sharp the next day. Like my vision, in the Amazon, they just give themselves, before they go hunting, they put one dab on the skin, they throw up for about 20 minutes, and then they go hunting. Because I'll say this, it sharpens your senses.
Really?
Yeah. Again, there's probably risks of it. I wouldn't encourage anyone to do it unless you have got a strong reason. But I remember training jiu-jitsu after that weekend. Man, I never rolled so good in my life.
Serious?
Yeah, I was sharp. I mean, his reflexes were sharp. I felt strong. Apparently it boosts your immune system as well. That night we did ayahuasca again. I ended up having 3 glasses and nothing happened. Nothing.
Seriously?
Nothing happened.
And
then the next day, did it again. Nothing happened. And
you had 3 glasses again.
Both nights. Ended up having 6 glasses. The only thing that happened was I went to the toilet a lot. I actually did throw up. This time I threw up a lot. I was vomiting a lot. I was going to the toilet a lot.
It tasted worse than the first time.
Oh, it was unbearable. Unbearable. One of the glasses I had, I couldn't hold it down. It came right back up after a minute. So I had 4 then. So you have to hold it down for at least 20 minutes for the medicine to take effect. Right. And then you can throw up. They actually encourage you to throw up. But like I said, that was a lesson. It's like, yo, why are you rushing into this? Like it already helped me. I was like, it did its job. It
kind of supports the idea that you already had, right? Like you need to have an intention. And the second time you didn't really have an intention.
No, I was just more, it was just more like me just rushing into it and like thinking I'm not cured, thinking there's still something, maybe still like I'm not,
You probably didn't believe that you can be cured off just one weekend experience. I mean, I would find that hard to believe too, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, oh, you had this huge problem that plagued you for over a year, and then like
3 years, 3 or 4 years.
One weekend experience is going to cure you from 0 to 100? No way.
I know.
You would expect you would need several treatments.
Yeah, I mean,
but you felt nothing.
Felt nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That's a trip.
It was a good little weekend in Spain. I stayed on this farm. I met some cool people that were there for their own reasons.
But they had experiences.
They had experiences. Yeah.
So it wasn't like bunk medicine, right?
It wasn't.
It was just you.
Just me.
You and Mother Ayahuasca. Yeah. You didn't need it.
Yeah, it was like,
wow.
I mean, I've never been religious. I've always been like, I suppose, atheist, not believing in God, believing in nothing.
Nothing.
But after doing ayahuasca, I'm not saying I believe in a God, but I believe there's more. There's more to this. There's something else to all this. And I truly believe that our consciousness goes somewhere else. Once this meat suit, this bodysuit is, run out.
It's a meat suit.
Meat suit, yeah. Once this is no longer good, maybe we're not, maybe our consciousness won't be, Stuart, won't be Josh, but we're going, I don't know, it's so hard to explain.
There's another journey beyond this.
And when you're doing ayahuasca or DMT, it makes so much sense. When you're there in it, you understand everything. But when you come back out, you kind of forget very quick. Everything kind of makes sense. The whole world life makes sense. And then it's very hard to hold on to that.
This is a very similar description to the way people experience near death, right?
Well, yeah. Near-death experiences, apparently the pineal gland pumps out DMT.
Right.
Which is the active compound in ayahuasca. So they're actually having a psychedelic trip.
People commonly talk about how like when they have their near-death experience that like everything makes sense.
Yeah.
Like in that
they're
instant.
At peace.
Yeah, and they're at peace and and then they come back.
Yeah. So I think in high stress situations, so let's say I think I heard this on Joe Rogan podcast as well. One of the guys is getting attacked by a grizzly bear, and he's just getting ripped up, thrown around, just getting savaged by this bear. But he was just completely at peace, just detached, just looking down at himself, getting tossed around, and basically having this, psychedelic trip that eases you into the next place.
He wasn't worried.
He survived though.
The journey wasn't over yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
but he survived.
There was a lot of benefits to this ayahuasca. It made me look back at the last few years and see how I've been with past relationships, past friendships, how I'd been acting towards certain people, how much hate I was holding on to certain people. A lot of the benefits, there was some immediate, results, obviously, with the cravings. But months afterwards, I just noticed little differences in myself, like how much more peaceful I was. And I actually, every person I had ever fallen out with or had some, you know, yeah, like I said, yeah, just falling out with, I had actually reached out to and just said, hey, I wish you well. You know, I apologize for what happened.
Just because you wanted to.
Yeah, it just felt right. I realized it was really hard to this hate. I mean, going off subject to even Roy Dean. He was someone that, for a long time, I wanted to fucking strangle that guy.
Right.
I ended up emailing him, you know, and saying, hey, man, I apologize for the way I made that situation public. You know, that was very immature of me. I shouldn't have done that. I wish you well, you know. Because I really disliked that guy for a long time. Did he write you back? He did. Yeah, he wrote back and he wished me well. And
good, man. Good.
Yeah,
good for
some
you.
past girlfriends as well. One of them didn't message back. I'm not sure if she got the email, but
you tried.
Yeah, you know, pretty much everyone everyone I had fallen out with, got in contact with.
You know, this is one of the steps in the AA program.
Right. Yes. This is right. Yeah. Because I told this story to one of my friends who also had an addiction, and he said just that. Yeah.
My father had he went through Narcotics Anonymous when I was a child, when I was really young, and I remember he collected the little keychains and everything, and yeah, I remember he was 6 months sober, 1 year sober, 2 years sober, and I have vague memories of him going to these meetings, and he would bring me with him too, you know. And I always thought it was like his work meetings, you know. I was like, oh, he has a work meeting for work. And we'd go, and I never listened to what anyone was saying. You know, there people are giving their testimonies and whatever, but I wonder, I guess maybe he went through that also, you know, that whole, like, you got to contact everyone you ever had a problem with and apologize or make amends. I guess it's make amends with all the people you had problems with.
It feels better. It feels so much better, you know.
It always does feel better to reach out to someone you had a conflict with and just forgive them and apologize for what you did. And whether they respond to you or not, you will feel better.
Yeah.
You will feel better. And I'm a very stubborn person. I'm super, 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 super stubborn. But there have been cases where I was able to bite the bullet and just like reach out to someone and apologize. Even if I didn't think I was wrong, I apologized. And, you know, I told them, like, I forgive you for what you did and I'm sorry. And I always felt better. Even if I didn't believe I was wrong. You know, like apologizing for something you don't believe you're wrong for still makes you feel better.
Yep.
Still. So, you know, so if any of you guys out there are holding on to something, you know, maybe reach out. And they always say forgiving people is not about them. It's about yourself. It makes you feel better. Like, you might think that like you're giving someone forgiveness and you're doing it for them, but you're not. You're doing it for yourself so you can let it go. Right?
Yep.
That's a trip, Stu.
Yeah, I mean, just think this. It's like we said, it's an epidemic here. You know, opiate addiction. When I was going through all that, I didn't know if I was going to be normal again. I didn't really have a reference. I couldn't look at one person and say, okay, this guy was addicted to the same things, and look at him now. He's happy again. He's got his life back. A lot of the time, they'll tell you, oh, you're an addict for life, or you'll never really feel the same again. It's not true. You know, it's. If people are out there, you know, maybe listening to this and they've got an addiction problem, like 100% you can get your life back. You can be, you know, you can get off it. It's going to be tough, but it's going to make you mentally stronger when you come out the other end. You know, you can have your life back. Don't listen to all the negativity, you know, from even doctors, you know, family. Like, it's definitely, you know, it's doable to get your life back. You know, there's hope out there. I'm not saying go out there and do, you know, psychedelics, but look into it. You know, if you know, you're really going to do your own research.
There are alternative options.
There's alternative options, yeah.
And you are never out of options. And maybe this is a good lesson or a good message for people who maybe feel like they're out of options and they feel like maybe it's time to end the show. You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's oftentimes what happens is when people want to end their life. You know, it's because they feel like they're out of options.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say too much, but it's very common, not very common. It's more common than I would have expected for people to reach out to me and tell me that they're thinking about ending it.
Wow.
It's happened quite a few times, like at least once a year.
Yeah.
for many years. And
Depression and anxiety and even suicide, it's all on the rise at the moment.
Huge.
It's the numbers are going up. And, you know, the doctors are putting them on antidepressants. They're putting on a lot of stuff that I don't know, it doesn't seem to be helping.
It's maybe not the answer.
Not the answer.
It's maybe a mask. It's masking the problem, but it's not solving the problem.
I know the NHS in England, they actually did a study recently. I'm not sure what the number of people was, but quite a large group of people are suffering with depression, anxiety for quite a long time, maybe a few years. Nothing was working. Antidepressants wasn't working. They give them all a dose of psilocybin mushrooms. And I think it was 95% of them felt happy. They had relieved symptoms of depression for the next 6 months. They actually felt great. So yeah, there's alternatives out there.
So guys, we're not saying go try a bunch of crazy psychedelic mushroom drugs and random Amazon plants. But if you're in a place that is so desperate that you're thinking of ending the show, maybe consider trying this out before you do that. What do you got to lose?
Right.
You have everything to gain, nothing to lose, you know? If it doesn't work, maybe you go ahead and proceed with your plan. I'm not recommending you do that, but maybe try it out.
Yeah, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. One thing about if you are going through stuff like I did, it's difficult at the time. You think, well, is this ever going to end? But if you get through it, if you get through that hard time, life is so good afterwards. You get, like I said, you get mentally stronger, and you're like, after what I went through, it's like, wow, what's life going to throw at me now? I made it through that bullshit. I made it through a tough time. So I am actually, it sounds weird, but I'm great. I'm glad that happened. I'm actually very grateful for that.
This is a very powerful message, Stu. Galval preaches this all the time. He says, you have to suffer to become stronger. It's true. Impossible to become strong without suffering. Impossible. Look at, I don't know, it's a stupid analogy, but like children that are born with wealth, right? They never struggle, right? They're not very strong humans in general. People who maybe came out of the favela in Brazil struggled through their childhood, struggled to have food, struggled to have a decent life, just a decent life, not a good life, a decent life. They're strong. They're strong. I know a lot of guys that came from the favela, and jiu-jitsu, and they are strong humans. Nothing shakes them. They can just withstand all kinds of turmoil. Like the life that we have now, like to them, it's a dream, because they know what real struggle is, and sometimes we need, Professor Andre always says, like, you have to pass through the valley to get to the peak. And if you never pass through the valley, you'll never appreciate the top of the mountain. If life is a roller coaster and when you're down, you think you're going to be down forever. I think that's a Rocky quote or something, right?
Yeah, it's true though.
Isn't it a Rocky quote or something?
Maybe.
I just pulled it out of my brain, but I think I heard it from a movie. But I totally lost my train of thought. But like,
about the message Galval preaches.
Yeah, you just need you appreciate the good times because of the bad times, and without those bad times, even weightlifting. Look what you have to do to go weightlift, right? You go to the gym, you squat and deadlift. It's not fun. No one likes lifting weights. You're literally destroying your body, right?
Yep.
That's what we do in training. We destroy our bodies. We just beat ourselves up. Your muscle fibers tear. Yep. The next day you're sore, your joints hurt, your muscles hurt, you're achy, everything feels like shit. You kind of feel hungover, right? Yeah. Sometimes after a good hard workout. But you had to destroy your body for your body to rebuild itself. And then what happens? You adapt and you become stronger.
Your body heals and becomes stronger. So it's same with the mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the mind, can you think of it like a muscle,
Wow, Stu.
I've had a wild 10 years. I was like on top of the world, came all the way down. Now I'm back up again. And now I'm staying up.
I'm very happy that you pulled through.
Yeah, actually, when I came back and made my first, you were my first video back in Singapore. That was the first video I'd made in 2 years. When I posted that video, all the comments on my YouTube channel, you can even read them now.
They're like, where you been?
Stu, you're back. Stu, where have you been? Like, glad you're back. We're not. It was kind of nice to read. It's oh damn, like,
bro, we missed you.
It's like it was nice to read. It's
we
like,
missed all your videos. Your awesome videos. They're very inspirational.
I've got a.
And it was my honor to have you when you contacted me about that video. I was blown away. I was like, yes. First of all, we found him. He's alive and doing well. He's back. And like, I was like super honored that you wanted to shoot a video with me. And what's that video called? It's called Attitude is Everything.
Yes, that was your, that was going to be the title for an article, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was writing an article. Yeah. Attitude is Everything. So guys, it's on YouTube. Check it out if you want. That was Stuart's comeback video. Well, look, Stu, we're at like literally 2 hours right now.
It's 2 hours.
It's 2 hours. I know it flies by. Everyone always says that. Everyone always says, what? It felt like 20 minutes.
I was talking for a long time.
Bro, this is your personal testimony. And I give you the most sincere thank you that I can possibly give you for giving that story, because it's not easy. It's not easy to tell a story like that to the whole world.
For the longest time, I didn't want to talk about it at all. But the reason I'm telling it is because, like I said, I didn't have a reference to look at. So maybe there's people out there that are going through a similar thing, and maybe this can give them hope.
Yeah, and that's the point.
Yeah,
right. That's why we did this. We made that Attitude is Everything video in 2018.
Yeah,
right.
January 2018.
Yeah, 2018. Yeah. And what you guys don't see is like when Stu is talking to me and I'm sitting in front of the tree in the chair, we're talking. We actually sat there and talked for quite a while.
Yeah. And
you had told me this whole story about the ayahuasca there at that time. But of course you didn't put it in the video because, it wasn't about you at the time, right? No. But I told you at that time, like, Stu, you have to tell this story. Like, people need to hear it. This is a very powerful message. And this has the potential to help people. If one person gets something out of this and finds a solution to like their problem, then man, totally worth it. Totally worth us sitting down for 2 hours and just chit chatting. So that's my hope. My hope is that someone out there needed to hear this message.
Yep.
And that they will hear it and that they will be okay. And guys, if you wanted to shoot me a message or Stu a message, where can we find you?
Instagram.
It's not hard to find. It's not hard to find you.
I don't reply on Facebook much. I'm kind of done with Facebook. I'm an Instagram man. Or email stuartcooperfilms@gmail.com. But honestly, if anyone does want some advice with addiction or, advice on what to do, like for sure, I will. No problem. I will help. I can help in whatever way.
You're happy to talk about it.
I'm happy to talk about it. Yeah.
We're not professionals. I'm definitely not a professional. You should definitely consider reaching out to professionals. But as you may have heard, sometimes professionals don't have the answers.
Nope. They don't.
So you can find Stu at Stuart Cooper Films on Instagram.
Yep.
And email?
Yeah, stuartcooperfilms@gmail.com.
Okay, pretty easy to remember.
Yeah, easy.
Anyone you want to thank or shout out or while we're here? You got a sponsor or like a shout out to Emilio? Shout out to the girlfriend.
Yeah, shout out to my girlfriend, Rena. I would like to say I've actually just relocated to Vancouver, and I've just started up my own Stuart Cooper Jiu-Jitsu team inside Diaz Combat Sports. So this is going to be a new journey for me.
It's Diaz.
Diaz Combat Sports.
Diaz.
Yeah, it was a guy called Ryan Diaz. He's set up a very successful MMA gym there. It's been running for 4 years, and he's brought me on as the jiu-jitsu coach. So I'm going to have my own Stuart Cooper Jiu-Jitsu within his gym.
Boom, there it is, guys.
Starting up my own team, and I'm really looking to compete next year. I'm just had knee surgery, but next year I'm really hoping to get on the competition scene.
Yeah. I've always been telling Stu, I've trained Stu a couple times, no-gi, and he's a monster, guys. He's a freaking monster. And I told him when we were in Thailand last year, I said, bro, you need to start competing because you can hang with these dudes, man. I know you can. I felt all of them, and I felt you belong at this business.
I had that first experience in Melbourne. That was like the first, beat Felipe Pomansky in my first match and lost to DJ. Close match in the second. But that was the one where I'm like, okay, right. Now I'm going.
You felt like, you belonged there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I belonged there in that tournament. But after it was like, okay, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you can do it.
So yeah, I'm really looking to get on Grapple Fest, which is an event in England. I really want to get on Polaris, but those guys won't message me back.
Why is that? Isn't that that's your home? What the?
I get it. I think I got to prove myself in competition a bit more.
Okay,
I get it. Yeah.
You know what? I'm just gonna say this too. That hey, the Polaris guys have literally never reached out to me either.
Oh, have they not?
Never.
Oh man.
Not that I'm not saying they have a vendetta against me or anything. I'm sure there's plenty of other good grapplers out there.
They should definitely set you and Craig Jones up for the
wants
Polaris
me
middleweight championship. I like what they're doing. Out of all the events, I love Polaris. I'm a big fan of them.
Craig is their champion right now, right?
He's the middleweight and light heavyweight champ. He's the champ.
Champ.
He's the champ.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he beat Keenan for the light heavyweight belt.
That's right. He out-wrestled Keenan.
Out-wrestled Keenan, yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. I want to shout out the sponsor one more time, VHTS.Europe. Okay, not to be confused with VHTS. New York. I'm just kidding. They're the same company, but the guys from VHTS Europe is the one that reached out to me. So he is the official sponsor of this episode, and check them out. Awesome company, awesome dudes. I've always had good experiences talking to the VHTS people, and I've always had great experiences competing against the VHTS athletes. So check them out. Also check out the We Defy Foundation at wedefy.org. And this is a organization that helps veterans who got some shit on their minds and are having a hard time, and they raise money to
PTSD.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They raise money to just pay the tuition for these veterans to train jiu-jitsu, right? Because when you're training jiu-jitsu, you don't really have to think about other things, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of meditative, right?
It is.
In the sense that you have to focus on what you're doing.
Yep.
Right? Otherwise you get strangled.
You're in that state of Zen.
Yeah. The flow state, so that's what Redefy Foundation does. And they have an event coming up in LA. They have a gala, and it's to raise money. They do have an auction. I went to one in Dallas, and they are auctioning off Uzis and all kinds. There was like hundreds of things to auction off. It was a silent auction, but I was trying to bid on the Uzis, and someone else outbid me. But not that I could even bring it to California, because I can't. But check out the Redefy Foundation, and then lastly, guys, check out the new organization that Kenny Jewell's putting together. And I talked about it on the last podcast with Crystal. It's the Jiu-Jitsu United for a Cause. It's JJUFAC.org. So you can check that out. If you want to make a donation, you can. If you want to attend one of the events, that would be cool too. They're coming. It's October 12th and 13th in San Pedro will be the first event. I will not be at that one, but I will be at the San Diego event. And, try to make a change in some people's lives, and help raise money. So the JJUFAC, their first mission is to raise money for the Cancer Society. So that's the cause, fight against cancer. So check them out. And yeah, I got some other projects on the back burner, but I'm not going to talk about them now because I've gone way over my time, and we got other stuff to do. So Stuart, you're the man. Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you, Josh.
I had a great time talking to you. Yeah. And yeah, guys, stay positive, drink lots of water, train hard, be savage.
Get ready for ADCC.
Yeah.
Next weekend.
Let's get ready for ADCC.
And can't wait.
Let's.